Hey, hey, hey. How is everybody this evening? Everybody okay? Is everybody fine? Had a good day? Let's hope so. Let's give a few shout outs to the people we have in currently. We have Bill G. We have Joey Rocha. Hell and Degenerates. Nice to see you in, mate. Ray G. 0000. Nice to see you in. Mike Dornan, Kat Waheen, Ian Adams, Hiccup, hi. Indeed. Bill G. And Kat Waheen. Nice to see you in, guys. How's it all going? I am sorry that I didn't get the opportunity to put the show out any earlier. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I had almost 300 copyright strikes to go through. So I had to fill a form in for every single copyright strike. Every single one. And it's taken me all day. Basically, all day. Yep, and I'm a little bit stressed. And I went to the shop and I bought myself 2 bottles of red. Since I haven't had a drink in such a long time, I thought I'd treat myself. And I bought myself some smoke as well. Bought myself some, what is it? What the fuck is it I've got? Don't know what it is. Golden Virginia. There we go. And I haven't even smoked in 2.5 years or something, so it's horrible as well. But hey ho, who gives a shit at this time? I'm not bothered. Yeah, and it seems that YouTube's fucking around me as well, because I kept on getting this 404 error on the channel. Yeah, I kept on getting this 404 error. Channel not found, all this shit. Other people get it too. So I just don't know what the hell's going on. Seems like the channel's under attack, but it is what it is. Anyway, I had planned to do an excellent show for you guys today. Of course, all of that went out the window when I had to address the issues with the copyright strikes. I'm actually only through about 130 of them, so I've still got about 170 to go. So I guess that's my day taken up again tomorrow as well. Something to do with the intro music, you know. Hey ho, but I've got a license for it, so it's just a case of filling in the forms and sending it off. For individual videos, you can't do them in bulk. You've got to do each and every video individually. I'm not going to be smoking tomorrow. I'm going to have 5 or 6 because I need them. I'm stressed. I'm tired. My mind's not with it entirely, to be fair. Just a bit of a downer day, really, more than anything, I suppose. But yeah, is what it is. Anyway, if anyone wants to join me in the chat, I'm going to put the link in. That's the Discord chat right now. If nobody joins, which I'm sure you know what it's like. People filter in. Eventually, people come in, say hello. So I'm just going to hold the show down till then. Maybe have a chat with some of the people in the chat that I've not had a chat with for a while. So let's see who's saying what. Weed the people. Easier to quit heroin than it is cigarettes. Much more powerful psychologically. Well, hey, listen, I've given up smoking, I think 4 times now, and each time I've gone a couple of years, you know. So I definitely know where you're coming from. Definitely know where you're coming from. It is a bit of a tough one to give up. It's yeah, it's tough. Who we've been joined by? F.E. Evangelist. How's it going, mate? Yeah, it is what it is. Smoking, drinking, things that I don't normally do. You know, I don't even like smoking. I hate it. It's disgusting. The smell of it. Ugh. But I had this overwhelming urge. I tell you, I had this overwhelming urge. I just couldn't not do it. I am actually being deadly serious. I'm smoking one right now, and I'm going. Bleh, bleh. I will smoke it though, and then I'll get another one, and I'll smoke that one, and I'll get another one, and I'll smoke that as well, and I will have these cigarettes. I just don't care. Do not underestimate the conviction to have a cigarette. Yeah, exactly. Well, I started smoking when I was about 27. Funnily enough, uh, yeah, I was I was going through a very very bad time in my life actually at that time, and yeah, I did all kinds of stuff at that age. You know, at 27, I turned to drugs and all kinds of stuff. You know, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, just ecstasy, cannabis. You know, not none of the fucking really hard stuff. You know, but ecstasy and fucking cannabis, and yeah. But it became more than recreational. It was every day. You know, I needed it to get through a bad period in my life, and that lasted for about 2 years. You know, but like I say, up until then, I'd led a very clean life. I'd never taken any drugs or anything, or smoked or anything. In fact, I hated it. Um, and then, you know, so since then, it's been on and off. You know, probably more times off than on, I would say. And I think the last time I had a cigarette was about maybe 3 years ago or something like that. It's been a long time anyway. And I just thought, you know what, I just need a cigarette tonight. I got the urge. I don't enjoy them at all. In fact, I'll give this packet to my sister when I'm finished. Because she smokes all the time. So she'll be loving it because I'll be handing her a pouch of Golden Virginia. So she'll be over the moon. So I probably only smoke about 6 of these, but I'm not. I just, do you know what it is? It's just one of those days that I just wish it hadn't been one of these days, and it just is. And yeah, I just need it and drink as well. So yeah, it's going to be a good day. I'll be quite wankered by the end of this, I imagine. I'll be slurring my words, you know. Give it 4 hours. I'll be like, oh well, I'm glad you're happy. Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to say what happened at 27. To be honest, Kat Waheen's asking me what happened when I was 27. Probably the worst thing that can happen to anybody. Happened when I was 27, and I didn't know how to deal with it or cope with it or anything like that. And for 2 years, I was just an absolute wreck. I was just an absolute wreck, and I blamed myself, and yeah, I took it out of myself, and just my head wasn't anything. You know, my head was just all over the place. Lost everything that I'd ever had. Just lost everything. Just didn't care. Just didn't care. Um, I think I just realised I got, you know, probably the last 3 or 4 months of being in that state, I realised that I needed something to change. So I actively sought finding a partner at the time. Going out and trying to find somebody that was suitable to, just hang around with. Let's just put it that way to start with. And anyway, I met somebody, and she didn't like, drugs or drinking too much. Well, she didn't mind the drinking too much, but whatever. But she didn't like drugs or anything. So I just gave up immediately. And we had a relationship for 7 years. That one broke down. I'm not going to go into all that detail, what happened, why it broke down. But yeah, she wasn't a very nice person. But she helped me get over a very bad period in my life, and so if anything, I'm grateful for that. But and it dragged me out of that situation that I was in. So yeah, it was tough, but made me who I am, I suppose. But there's not a day goes by that I don't think about things. Every single day. It's very hard.
So.
Oh shit!
Even the bad stuff.
I've just realised that you were completely muted that entire time as well, mate. Sorry.
Oh, it's all right. We had a good chat.
Oh my goodness! You can tell I'm not with it. And I've only had a quarter of a glass, so I've barely even touched the bottle. It's just my head is all over the place right now, and God, yeah. Yeah.
I guess so. Are you getting to work much at the moment, or not at all?
Me working wise, no. This is the only. If you call this an income, this is the only income that I do actually have. I've not worked since probably, I don't know, end of April, I would think, something like that, when the hernia kicked off. So when I had that, when the hernia erupted, and I've still got it. So I've got the big lump there. It's basically my intestines are hanging out of my stomach lining, basically.
Oh,
so I'm just waiting to have my intestines put back where they should be and sewed up, and until then, unfortunately, I can't lift anything probably more than a 5 pound bag of spuds. That's about the limit. So it's very stressful. Even if I just go for a brief walk, I'm having to stop every 3 or 4 minutes, take a breath, because when I get home, it feels like I've been punched 100 times in the stomach. It feels that bad. But I suppose there's nothing there holding your muscle, holding your internal organs in, because it's all just out. So as you're walking, it's bobbling around. Yeah, it's horrible, mate. It's fucking horrible, mate. And, yeah, it's fucking really bad. I'm not even.
It's making my bum quiver with you talking about it.
So yeah, as for working now, I've not worked since April, but yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, this is the only source of income that I've got at the moment, and yeah.
Well, yeah. All right, I've got to get back on it, because yesterday I tried to become a channel member, and you know when it's like, do this and click here and give us your password and sign in another way, and at the end of the whole thing, it came back to me and it said, oh, sorry, we're unable to sync your PayPal account with whatever the hell it is. Mm-hmm. So mate, I'll get back on it today and I'll get it sorted out. It could have been because I was using a VPN, so it might not have gelled my phone number with the country that the signal was coming from. I don't know, but yeah, I couldn't do it yesterday. So fear not, mate. I'll get back on it.
Well, it just feels like a few people have said that actually, that they've tried to become channel members and they've got an error code or something that they can't become a member. So I don't know. Like I say, it just feels like YouTube's fucking around. I clicked on to try and check my channel to see if anybody's commented on any of my posts or anything, and it says channel not found. So other people were getting that same error code as well, and I'm
okay. Well, I certainly got past all of that. I went through the whole process and just tried to link my PayPal account to it, so that way it just takes care of itself every month. And it just came back and said, sorry, unable to link. I think that's what it was. Unable to link your PayPal to something or other. and that was the end of the exercise. There was no more buttons I could push.
Oh well.
So
At
right.
least you tried.
I
I do thank you anyway for trying. Anyway, at least.
I'll get to you somehow. Don't worry, mate.
Well, seems we're talking about it because George Netanyahu has a issue apparently with the fact that I've mentioned on the last 2 streams that I've done, I've actually been actively promoting the different ways that you can support the show. So if you go back the previous, I don't know, let's say 250 shows that I've done, I never mention it. I don't say, here's this, here's that, support me this, do that, smash the super chat, any of that. I don't do that. But just because the last couple of days I've mentioned, hey guys, if you want to support the show, there's ways that you can do that, and I've directed people to do that. And I've actively promoted it because, it's, everybody needs money, at the end of the day. And, it feels like, the last 3 weeks or so, the shows have been paying very, very little. I've been making maybe £5 a show or something. You can't live on £5 a show, but, and I am grateful for people supporting the show as much as they do anyway. But it's just nice to remind people, look, if you want to help out a little bit, support the show, there's the means to do it. But George picks up on that, and of course he's like spreading rumours around saying, Ranty lost his case against Roxanne, and this is why he's e-begging for money. I hate that word, e-begging. I'm a very proud person. I don't like the situation that I'm in right now, not being able to work. I've always run my show, by working as well, and this has been a passion more than like if you go to the other channels there, they do this for a living. This was more of a passion, but now it's more of a need to earn money at the same time as well, and I actually mention it and I get shit for it. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
right, but they don't understand that the amount of hours that you have to put in. It's not just the show; it's all the other stuff that goes with it: the Discord, the Skype, the Facebook group that I've got, my Twitter, answering emails, preparing shows, making videos as well. When you add all that up, it's an entire day that I do every day. It's like 16 hours every day, and then 8 hours of sleep, and I'm back at it.
It chews up time, doesn't it? Like you're just faffing around trying to edit a video or do something, and you look down and it's an hour and a half gone, and you kind of think, where did that go?
Yeah, but I'm passionate. The thing is, I'm passionate about the subject, so I would do it, and I'm happy to do it for free. I am happy to do it with no caveats attached to it. It's not like I've got any demands or anything. If people want to help out, that's great. It's nice to know that you are appreciated by seeing people support you. Speaking of which, good servants just given 99 cents, so thank you very much for the super sticker. And it really is appreciated. But you see some of these channels out there, and they do it for a living, and they make an absolute coin. I mean, Fight the Flat Earth, for instance, he's doing what, 3, 4, 5 shows every week, and every show he's getting $300-400 every show. Maybe more. I think on his 40,000 subscriber one, he got a few thousand for that. Just on that one, that 40-hour stream or something. And that's numbers that Flat Earth are never going to get. Nobody, Flat Earthers just aren't going to get that, because firstly, Flat Earthers believe the truth should come free, and I totally agree. The truth should be free, but the fact that it isn't free means that other people still have to go and find the truth. So it's kind of a catch-22. So he's got the Globers on his side, where they will actively give him money left, right, and centre, because it's just the way it is. They understand the world works, and because we're all conspiracy-minded and we don't like the idea of this kind of lifestyle, having to live this kind of lifestyle, that people just refuse to support the shows that way. There are a few, but the majority, you can get 150 people watching, and there's only ever 5 or 6 people that will give a super chat or something. There's not many people that actively support the shows, especially on Flat Earth. But on Globe Earth, it's just you can write your own check if you're a Glober. It's easy for those guys. They coin it in. But Flat Earthers, it's really tough. But hey, we got the truth on our side at the end of the day, and I think, like you say, the truth is more important than selling your soul for money. You know, those. I mean,
it is, Ranty. But you can't buy groceries with the truth, mate. You know that's the bottom line. So. Yeah, it surprised me because didn't Arwen say the other night on his reply to you that he'd heard you were swimming in money and cameras or drowning
yeah,
in
exactly,
money and cameras. I thought, oh, geez, man, you know what a jealous little twit he is. But anyway,
yeah, he's got this.
Anyway, I was going to say to everyone who watches this show, whether you tune in every day or whether you tune in occasionally. Like, I had no idea, Betty, that you hadn't worked since April. So all I'd say to everybody is one of our mates is struggling at the moment. For goodness sake, just dip into your wallet, throw a few bucks his way, become a cheap channel member, whatever you can do, because I really enjoy listening and I really enjoy being part of it. So get behind the guy and give him a hand, all right? There you go, Ranty, back to you.
Cheers. Yeah, and I know everyone's skinned at this time. You know, it's not like, it's not like everyone's suffering with this corona bullshit. You know, everyone's really under the cosh. So it's really tough for everybody. I understand that. I do. I'm genuinely behind all that, you know. But listen, you know, it is what it is, and you know, and maybe that was their intention all along, to make it that way, make it as difficult as possible for people. I mean, that's why they suppress us, you know, but they actively promote the Globers.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Aaron's trying to join, but he's having issues. I think he is.
There he is. I saw him pop in and out. He's back. Aaron!
He's back. He's gone. He's back. He's gone. He's back. He's gone. Right, Paul.
It's popping in and out.
Here he is.
There we go. Cheers, Paul. Paul Rooson for the 99 pence super sticker. Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate that. I really do. Thank you. How's it going, Aaron?
Might be busy.
Yeah, it's going great, mate. Yeah, it's going great.
Yeah, just on the digger, just digging a trench at the moment. Going well.
Yeah, it's yeah. Anyway, I hate talking about this stuff. You know, at the end of the day. You know, it's not me. You know, it's not how I want to run the show, by being a bit down in the mouth about stuff. But you know, sometimes I suppose we're all human at the end of the day. We can't be robots and just be putting a smile on your face and pretending that everything's all right, because a lot of times things aren't always right.
Yeah.
But
no, that's it. They're not. So just get it off your chest, and we'll smash through it somehow.
Well, we'll get a few more drinks down my neck. And then
that's it.
Yeah, and then we'll have a proper show. Did you see that there was a video put out by Dr. John D? Did you see that?
Depends which one. As I said, I haven't had a lot of time in it recently. Is it the one? Not the one with the windmills. There's one more recent than that you're talking about.
Yeah, he's put another video out. It was on the same day. Yeah, I just thought I'd shout it out because let's see if I can get it up. I don't know how my YouTube's actually working at the minute, because it's a bit all over the place. But we'll have a look. See if I can get it up. Dr. John D. Yeah, he did. Oh yeah, so I watched this morning. It's called The Berlin Gap Observation, taken on the same day, 6th of August, of the Black Swan. So I'm gonna knock that music off, and let's just get to the exciting bit. I will share the screen in a sec. I just want to get the details up. I'm struggling to remember myself.
Anything at all?
I got 300 copyright strikes today.
What?
300 copyright strikes. So I've had to individually. You have to respond to each one individually, right? So it takes so long. I mean, each copyright strike to respond to, because you have to. First of all, you have to click a box to say that you are turning around and saying, "I don't agree with this." and then it's why don't you agree with it, and you have to tick another box, another box, another box. Then you have to explain why you don't agree with it. Then you have to sign it, and then you have to send it off. Well, that takes about 2 minutes to send each one off, and I had 300, so I've only got through about 130 today. Wow, Grave Dodger, thank you for the £50 super chat. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, mate. Seriously, I'm blown away. That's awesome. Thank you. Really, really,
Ranty,
really awesome.
Me and you should do a ranty-thon. I'll come on with you, and I'll just raise cash for you, all right?
Listen, I don't want to e-beg. I'm not an e-beggar. That's me. I'm just not an e-beggar. It's just not me. But hey, if people want to support the show, that's great. And if the content's worth it, though, listen, you don't want to hear me moaning all day and then say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to support you for being moaning." No, you want to get content. You want to enjoy the content. So that's the way I see it. But I'm just moaning because I'm in a moany day. Listen, I'm in a moany day. I'm in a depressed day. That's all it is. I'm in a really fucking depressed day, and I'm just moaning. I'm just moaning. I'm being a little bitch. That's all.
Have another smoke. Grab your beer, and we'll keep going. Who the hell? How do you get 300 strikes? Is this from not 300 individual people? Surely.
No. It's 300 from the one thing. It's to do with the channel intro has a the music is copyrighted, but if you buy the license from them, which the intro has, then you don't then you have no copyright strike issues.
You're not infringing. Yep, sure.
You're not infringing. So because you've got a copyright pass on that, it should be all good to go. So this, I think it's Hawk something or other, have picked up on the fact that I've been using this, and they're claiming it on behalf of the people that made the music for the intro. So because there's like 300 shows, they're claiming for all of these intros, on every show. So rather than being able to do a bulk, tick everything and just bulk rebut it, you have to do it individually every single show. So it's just, oh man, it's just taking all day. So Helen Degenerate says, I will get you shopping from Aldi. He works there. That's pretty awesome. I could stop by and you could sort it out, mate. Nice one. Cheers, Grave Dogger. Grave Dogger. Grave Dodger. That's awesome, mate. Cheers, thank you. Right.
Here's the question, Ranty. So did that one complaint just generate 300 strikes?
Oh, I don't know.
Right?
I don't know.
So all they had to do was complain one time, and it automatically hit you 300. And now they're making you do each one individually. Come on.
Yep. So now what it is, all the passive revenue that I may have picked up on the streams, not the super chats, but the passive revenue from any adverts that people watched or anything like that. It's normally, let's say it's 50 pence a show, or 70 pence every show that the show makes just by having adverts on, right? Well, they've taken all that 300, all those 300 shows revenue that the show's made, and removed it from any income that I might be getting, holding it in a what is it called? Escrow. Holding it in an escrow account until they determine whether or not I've proved my case. So basically, it's up to them then to decide. So I have to fill these forms in. Then they have to decide whether I actually do have the copyright license for it. If I do, then they'll release the claim, and then I'll get the money. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. Huh. So be careful what music you use, guys, because there's this Hawk fella out there that's just waiting to swoop in and copyright strike you. So I'm just showing this Beachy Head, the Belt Out Lighthouse and jutting off cliff and all this. Carabiner rates it basically, and it was another awesome observation. Down here we've got this Berlin Gap, and I believe the Berlin Gap down here is, I think it's around about 12 meters above the water or something at the time that he actually took the image, and yeah, it was quite a distance as well. I believe it was close to 30 miles or something like that. Let me go to the description. 27 miles. Yeah, so 27 miles. You know, I think he was at 30 feet, and he saw the Berlin Gap and everything. You know, down at 12 feet. Just another awesome visual proof. Here we go, 10 meters above mean sea level. So you were seeing this Berlin Gap, flat as a pancake, mate. There ain't no lumen here.
Yeah.
You know, so this is Dr. John D. You know, if anybody's you know, following his work or what have you, just thought I'd put it out there and go and subscribe to him. He's got how many subscribers? He always put on 60 or 70 subscribers in the past few days. I would assume that's down to his original video, so that's pretty cool. And of course, he's had to turn his likes and dislikes off and his comments because he gets trolled like nobody's business. You know, he gets so trolled. He gets the dislike, you know, 100 dislikes to 10 likes, and he gets all the trolls descending on his channel to make stupid comments. But to be honest, I mean, that's what we all get, isn't it? Travis, do you get that?
Oh, incessant. That's all you get, man. You have there. So I'm putting out, and I try to engage these idiots and give them reasonable responses, and they just have no reason interaction. They just, you know. So yeah. I started putting in my description my email address and I say, you know, if you want to address anything, email me. No one will email, you know, so that just shows that they don't give a shit about true interaction. But yeah, and, you know, and then they'll say on a different page, oh, why did you turn the comments off? You're afraid. I'm just like, what the fuck? You guys are so stupid.
Yeah.
So is that what you
really? They really are just they're low frequency individuals, aren't they? They're just, yeah.
Is that what you've had to do? That you've had to turn your comments off on your channel?
Only because I need help not answering them, right? So if I don't see them come up, I'm not going to answer them. Kind of like the post that you put up yesterday. I think it was yesterday, and I said something, and I'm in a back and forth with WS and Esteban Ibanca, you know, and as long as they keep responding, I keep responding. I'm like, I gotta stop. I have to stop doing this. So yeah, it's basically to save my own sanity and my time wasted by answering these guys.
I have no idea what Neon Boots is saying. It says, you don't pretend to have a PhD. Indeed, I don't pretend to have a PhD. I do have a full honours degree, though. I actually went back to university and, you know, as a mature student, and having only, let me bear in mind, taken GCSEs up until this point, I didn't even take A-levels. I did actually join a level 5 foundation degree, which was for 2 years. And I passed that with a distinction, and then I did a final year and got my full honours degree. And I actually did that in my mid-30s. I think it was mainly just to prove a point to myself, you know, that I actually did have a brain and could do things. And the thing about it was that there was no need to regurgitate stuff. It wasn't a case of like you know you just go to school and you learn stuff. A lot of this you learn by yourself. It was building apps for phones and stuff. You know, well at the time, you know, for instance, you know, you're making these apps, and these apps had never been made before. So, you know, you were basically being the first of the first to make these apps. And web design and using 3D software and special effects, making movies as well. That was another thing, you know. So it was called media design. So it was a case of once you had the programs and you had a grasp of how to use this this software, you know, then you were basically on your own, and you flew by your seat of your pants basically. You know, what you produced was whether or not you was good enough to pass the course. and I ended up getting a full honours degree in that. So, you know, but thanks for asking. Thanks for asking. I don't even know why I just decided to tell you that, but yeah. So yeah, I'm not that unintelligent. I can apply for myself to things if I need to. But yeah, I don't have a PhD. Do you have a PhD? Travis, do you have a PhD?
No, I have a master's degree though.
That's higher than mine. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, I mean it's in theology for religious studies. So some might not consider that a worthwhile degree.
Okay.
But
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Mark. How's it going?
no,
Very
it's
well.
Helvetica Bold.
Okay, so I need to know what's the name to do with it, because I have no idea if it means anything or doesn't, or is it just made up? What is it?
It's a typeface, you know, a font. The name of the
Oh,
font.
right, yeah, of course, yeah, okay.
So that's, I de-googled myself for temporarily, but I kept an anonymous name. So that's what it was, Helvetica Bold.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid that the police are going to come after me for my strange views.
Don't give a shit about that, mate.
I don't really. Travis has had a bit of fun with it.
Oh dearie. It would make it wouldn't surprise me if the police know there's something wrong anyway. You know, I mean, all these new things that they're bringing in. You know, it's more of a power grab, isn't it? They must know there's something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. When remember, Australia is our sister country, and our cousins there are living in a police state. It's horrendous what we're watching. Maybe you're not watching it, but there's like a dictatorship going on, locking people down, totally disproportional to any threat that there may or may not be.
Yeah, I've seen. Where was it that they did this? They arrested somebody in Spain. I saw a video out there. Two people in Spain, and the way they arrested them wasn't. Well, actually, they tried to arrest one, and the crowd intervened. Basically, the crowd intervened, and they were shouting. I think it was something like "freedom" or something like that, in Italian.
Yeah.
And they basically rescued this woman from being arrested because she didn't have a mask on. She wasn't wearing a mask. So the police tried arresting her, and there was like 5 coppers there trying to arrest her, and they were grabbing her. And the community, which there was around about 60 of them, all got around these police, around her, and they wrestled her away from the police, chanting "freedom." Right? It was crazy, actually. And then, in another video, there was a woman, and she was arrested too for not wearing a mask. But they were trying to put her into the car, and it took her probably 2 minutes to get her in the car. And then towards the end of the video, you could hear the public chanting again the same sort of word, like "freedom," and you could tell that the community was about to just jump in on these coppers and drag her out of the car. But the car got away before they could do that. So there's definitely an uprising going on. It was in Spain.
Yeah.
So there's definitely an uprising going on.
Good. Well, we all need emboldened to step up to this dystopian society that's being forced upon us. Ranty, listen. Tell me to butt out if I'm going a bit too far. Initially, you and piss off you. Initially, when COVID came out, there was a bit of confusion, and I took it seriously for the first week, and then realised, or I came to the conclusion that it wasn't what they were telling us it was. Have you changed your mind at all? Because you were very much, how do I put it?
Yeah, well, to be honest, when I first started talking about this, I was telling everybody that they needed to prepare for a lockdown, get food in if they needed it, because there was going to be supply line shortages and all this, that they needed to really prepare for a substantial time in lockdown. That came true. Nobody believed me. As for the deaths and the how bad it actually is, well, the initial reports from China, I mean, who knows? I mean, if it did originate in a lab, it's quite possible that they released some kind of thing there that gave a false narrative of what happened in the rest of the world, because it doesn't appear that it seems like it's a really bad flu, but it doesn't act like a flu either. In fact, it doesn't kill you like a flu. But as for how many people did it kill more than probably the average flu season? Maybe 30% more than the average flu season. Well, let's say the average flu season. Let's say that in the UK that would kill, I don't know, 50 or 80,000 people. Well, let's say 100,000 people died of this. It wasn't the doomsday thing that was told. That everyone was going to die of it and this, that, and the other. And the lockdowns, that brought a lot of positivity for their agenda. Everything that they wanted to try and bring in, and taking people's rights away. Crippling small businesses, basically. And that's what they've done.
Yeah. I saw figures today from the Irish official statistics body, or whatever it's called. They said that 1,700 have died from it. 1,600 had other problem diseases, and the average age of those that died was 84. Right. Now, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics, but what that shows, out of a population of, I think it's 13 million in Ireland, 100 people have died from it. From it alone.
But the thing you're missing is that the agenda behind all this, what was happening in China with the lockdowns, was going to happen elsewhere, and it did worldwide. And this isn't anywhere close to being ended. I mean, this is, if you think that any provisions that you bought in case of this lockdown, that you were going to be having food shortages, that is still going to come. It hasn't hit yet. This supply line issue has not kicked in yet, but it will.
It sounds like we're both, researching the same information.
Well, I was talking about this at the end of February, March, and April, and telling people there's going to be a lockdown. People are going to be kept in the houses, and all this stuff's going to happen, and it did. Okay, the deaths weren't as bad as they said it was, but the agenda was still there. And the fact that they kept people from working, people from being able to go out and harvest the crops, people from all the other things that are going on, these locusts that are ravaging the food supplies over in Africa and Asia. I mean, that's going to have an impact this winter and next spring. Everybody's going to feel the brunt end of that. There's no way around it. You can't make up 4 months of inactivity of not providing food without it having a knock-on effect at some point, and it definitely is. And if they do have a second lockdown worldwide, that's only going to that's just going to make things 10 times worse. So people still need to prepare. People, this is my opinion, people still need to get the food supplies in. They need to stock up. They need to prepare for this, because they might not think so, because the shops initially ran dry, but they will still go and run dry. This is going to happen. Whether or not this is killing people, the people in charge are telling you, that it's going to happen. You're going to have another lockdown. You're going to have a second wave and all this shit. right? And they're going to stop people from working, and that's going to affect the food supply.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. You know,
They've come up with this fantastic tool for as you say, Ranty, for their agenda, because this thing, whatever it is, this thing is worldwide. Apparently, it's invisible, and the effects of it are whatever we tell you they are. So
It's the Emperor's New Clothes, isn't it?
whatever they want to achieve, and here's another thing, is like they want to get rid of cash. So I'm not sure what's happening in England, but in Australia, many businesses, small businesses especially, aren't taking cash anymore. Like, you can only pay with a card. I just went on silent a minute ago to get a coffee in a little cafe, and I offer them a $20 note, and they don't take it. They're only taking card payments now, because this invisible virus transfers on cash.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, whether it's to do with limiting the food supply, you can't go out and harvest the crop. In Australia, we normally get a lot of overseas people come in and help the food growers to pick their fruits seasonally and vegetables, and so they can stop people coming in to do that. So that then strangles the food chain. I mean, this thing is a marvelous tool they've invented, that all they have to do is put a little bit of spin on it in any particular direction to make it relevant to whatever it is they're trying to achieve, if that makes sense.
Are you suffering curfew at the moment, FE?
Not where I am, but in Victoria, then yeah, they're under, like, it's we call their premier, we call him Chairman Dan, because he's acting literally like the Chinese, communist leader.
Yes.
The restrictions and draconian things. Like, people are getting arrested for just putting a face on Facebook, putting a post. They're getting arrested for incitement. It's like, this is unheard of in Australia. We're the
That was not me pissing in the glass, you. Thank you very much. That was me pouring another drink of, what the hell is it? Hang on, let me just get it. Montepulciano d'Abruzzo 2017 red wine in a pint glass, mate. Nice try, though.
Despotic Dan, or whatever you call him.
Dan Andrews is his name. He's just
he's going to get a bullet in the head.
He's not right. Yeah, he's not right in the head.
Mm.
And he's
Anyway,
in power. I
that
can't believe also the police are supporting him. I saw another video of an ex-army guy.
Don't smoke. It's horrible.
Put a post. He's I think like an Iraq or an Afghanistan veteran. He's put a post on Facebook saying that he was going to go to a demonstration, an anti-lockdown demonstration. He said, "I'm not encouraging anybody else to go. I'm just doing it because I'm convicted to do it." Yada yada yada. And then he had 3 thug police literally bash his front door in with one of those big iron things, and tackled him to the ground and arrested him on a live stream. And I'm watching it thinking, is this my country? I can't even believe it.
Well, the police actually live streamed it as well.
Oh wow. Well, see, is it just a a psyop against us to make everyone fearful that this can happen to you?
Who's the guy on Sky News in Australia that's really exposing it all?
Oh, look, there's a
There's a
Sky News over here is quite good. There's Andrew Bolt is good. There's another guy who was on radio. Alan Jones is another one. Sky is kind of our Fox News over here, where you actually get some more balance.
Think of it this way, yeah. All those people that wear a mask and go into a shop, right? They're all on camera. Right? I put a video out, I don't know, 2 months ago that showed this face recognition technology, and what they were doing is, instead of capturing people with masks on, they automatically diverted to people without masks on. So anybody that had the face visible, the cameras picked them up. They weren't interested in people that had masks on. And if you think about it, from another point of view, if they want to know who the sheep are, right? Well, no, they're not looking for the sheep. They're looking for the wolves, right? So they're looking for the wolves. So they're telling everybody that you must wear these masks. So if you go into a shop and you're not wearing a mask, and you don't have one of those badges that says that you've got, a condition that, that you're not allowed to wear these masks, or it would impact you if you wore the mask. So if you don't have that and you haven't got your mask on, then you're basically a wolf, and they will know who the hell you are, because they're not, like you say, a lot of these places, they're not taking cash, they're giving cards only. So you hand your card details over, they instantly know who you are. They know who the wolves are at this point, because you're not wearing a mask. It's dead simple. They're literally making databases of the people that are conforming and the people that might be an issue. It's a bit like that social scoring thing on Black Mirror. I keep going, I've said this a few times, I don't know if you've seen the series, but it's called Black Mirror. And this one particular show stuck out, and it was about social scoring, and it just showed you that the people were more like the police. So they had a phone that they were, they saw somebody that, let's say somebody was walking across the road, and instead of crossing the traffic light when the traffic lights changed green, or changed red, they crossed when it was still green, and they walked in front of a car, but they didn't walk in front of a car, they just crossed the road when it was, the cars were going. But they didn't cause any issues, they didn't cause an accident or something. But the people had the phones out, and they were taking a picture of whoever it was that crossed the road, and they were downvoting them, like their score, and their score was held in a database. So people were trying to get very high scores, to be accepted for loans, mortgages, to actually go into places, decent places to eat, or decent places to shop, or even travel, even get on a plane. And if you didn't have a reasonable score, social score, then you weren't allowed in these places, you weren't allowed to travel. So it was all about social scoring, and the people did that. The people actually decided on whether or not that person deserves a downvote or whatever. It was a bit like YouTube, in a way. So like the trolls come to your channel and they downvote a video, right? Now, if I put a video out that said, I don't know, let's suppose I put a video out that said, there's this woman that's really, really ill, right? Can you go and help her? Can you help support her chemotherapy or something, right? Right? A nice video trying to help someone, right? Then the trolls will just descend and they'll automatically fucking downvote it, because that's just what they do. Any video that I put out, they just downvote. It doesn't matter what the content is. It doesn't matter whether it's a good show, good evidence, bad evidence. They don't give a shit. They'll go on 10 alts and they'll just downvote it, right? Well, it's the same sort of thing. You will still get, but it's all social scoring. Social scoring by the public. And if you look around, I was watching posts on Facebook from even some of my friends that were putting these comments out saying, can't believe I was in Morrison's and I saw this woman without a mask on. Oh, you should have seen her. And she was picking up fruit, she didn't have any gloves on. I'm really making a big fuss about it. And I'm like, oh my God, if she had a phone that she was able to social score somebody on, she would have given them a 0, and downgraded their social score, because effectively that's what she did on Facebook. So she was almost doing that, right? And people were agreeing, oh yeah, I can't believe that she did that. How dare that person have picked up fruit and not wore a glove, passing the virus, trying to kill people, really drumming things up out of proportion. Well, it just seems like it's kind of going that way, that you can imagine that they're going to try and create this social score system where people social score people. And what better way to do that than implement this that sees whether or not people are going to conform to it? Are people going to wear masks? Are people going to put gloves on? Are people going to obey all the rules and regulations, or are there going to be people that step out of place? And if they do, well, we're going to affect them. We're going to go around, we're going to arrest them, we're going to harass them, we're going to, I don't know, put Facebook posts out about them from not wearing a mask. It's terrible. And it seems like it's coming true. It's like they put these things out to tell people this is what the future is going to be like. And yeah, I mean, that was just when I watched it, it was just like, it just made so much sense about this is what the future is going to be. This is how they're going to do it. They won't need the police. They won't need the police. They'll have the public literally doing it for them. People are begging to be locked down, to be saved from the virus. You know, people are actively putting posts out saying, stay at home, wear your mask. You know, I mean, literally begging to be kept in.
Have you noticed the Globe side are accepting the government position? Craig from Fight the Flat Earth is saying, trust what the scientists are telling us. Well, that's what the government's saying, the scientists are saying. And also conspiracy cats. I don't know why he uses the word conspiracy in his title, but he too has supported the official line that we need to stay safe. And it's generally, it seems to be general from the Globe side that this is all real and we need to support the science.
I just want to respond to a new person that I've seen in the chat. So the old church, Classic Christian Radio 888 FM. Yes, we can see your comments. Probably nobody's responding to you because you just keep spamming your channel and channel things. So maybe it'd be just better to just interact with people rather than just worrying whether or not people are responding to you, because, you know, simply just spamming stuff isn't maybe the way to introduce yourself to the community. Just have a chat with people. But yeah, we can see your comments. I'm sorry, I lost what you said then, Mark.
Generally, what I found is that the Globe side, they're so sort of brown-nosed up the scientist ass that whenever the government says science is saying, that they accept it.
We forget they can't.
Yeah, I think that's
they cannot.
That's the sheep and the wolves.
Yeah, they cannot deviate from the narrative. They just can't do it. It's inbred in them, and it's part of their channel makeup. You know, that is what they do. They regurgitate the mainstream narrative. And Rumpus said something very, was it Rumpus or somebody said something anyway, very telling, which was, it doesn't matter whether we agree with you on a certain part of something, because if we do that, then we deviate from the mainstream, and then as soon as we deviate from the mainstream, we are no longer mainstream. So we cannot agree with you on anything that you put out. We cannot agree with it because it's all conspiracy. And as soon as we start to go down that path, we are no longer mainstream. And if you are right on one single thing, then we are wrong on everything else, and we can't do that. So that's why we have to disagree with you.
Wow.
What a way to live.
That's incredible.
You know, that's why they have to disagree with everything. Everything that we put. If you notice, the Rumpus comes in and he disagrees with everything. Doesn't matter what it is. Could be. I mean, you could put anything out. It doesn't matter. You disagree with it. Same with all of these, because the minute they concede one thing, you know, their model is then broken, and they can't have a broken model because their model knows everything. You can't have a broken model. Just as simple as that. And they told us it blatantly to our faces that that's the reason we can't agree with anything that you put out. We have to disagree with it. No matter how ludicrous it seems, you know, no matter the fact that you're seeing 500, let's say 500 miles, you're seeing 500, it doesn't matter that you're seeing 500 miles. Our model says that that's super duper triple lumen with cherry on top and additional lumen on top of that as well, right? To see that, right? Because that's what our model says. Because you cannot have a flat plane, because our model says it's round. So it doesn't matter if you can see that far. It doesn't matter if you can see 1,000 miles. It makes no difference to them. They have to disagree.
Yeah, I jumped into one of the other, like the side rooms in the 24/7 chat the other day after we'd shut down here, and I ended up, I don't even know what room I was in, but I ended up, you know, there were 3 guys in there started attacking me about flat Earth, so I think I jumped into a Glober room. And then before you know it, oh, are you just a conspiracy theorist? and then literally within 30 seconds, they're arguing with me about mandatory vaccinations and 4 other topics. And honestly, I was sitting here thinking, this is genuinely black against white. Everything that I, believe in, if you like, these people are anti every single subject. It doesn't matter if you're, like you said, Reggie, if they're against one, they're against all. Everything you think, they can't agree with you on a single topic because it will put a crack in their paradigm.
And that's what they've admitted to. That's literally what they've admitted to.
Travis is quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, just listen. I mean, I had a casual girlfriend who is a PhD nurse, and when Flat Earth came into my life and I started talking to her about that, that was like a real sensitive. I mean, she basically exploded because she thought I was going to go all Alex Jones on her, right? She just hates Alex Jones. I'm like, no, I don't even watch him, blah blah. So I tried to save some face, but as soon as COVID came out, she had to break it off because she could not handle the fact that I was questioning her field. She has the studies, she has all of the science, and I went over to see her. I just showed up because I hadn't seen her in a while, and I wanted to go say hi. So I drove over there, and she would not let me in the house. She's like, do you have a mask, right? I said no, and she said, well, you're not coming in. So I sat on her stoop, and she had the door open, and she was sitting on the stairs, in her front hallway, and we talked for like 20 minutes, a half an hour, but she would not let me in the house. Anyway, so that's what I was thinking of when Mark said that I was being quiet.
So if you'd have worn a mask, let's put it this way, if you'd have worn a mask and she'd invited you in, would you have had to wear a mask on you, John?
No comment.
Right, listen, we got Professor John D. Professor John D. What am I talking about? Professor Phil Bell, who says, I don't disagree with stuff that makes sense. So, let me ask you, Professor Phil Bell, does it make sense that there are humans falling around Earth inside of a tin can with electric wiring all over the place, and all the astronauts do all day is throw water around the place and act like they're in a swimming pool? Can you answer that? Cheers. But yeah, it's amazing what the what the level of indoctrination is. I mean, imagine, not late. When was the last time you saw your missus then? She was your missus, isn't she? Travis?
Well, if Mrs. by wife, no,
Oh, right. Who was she? Oh, she wasn't your wife? No, right, okay.
No, I'm divorced, so I said she was a casual girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are you still seeing each other?
No, we haven't seen each other since probably February when well, no, I guess it would have been after that. Yeah. March, probably, I would say toward the end of March, because it was that month when it first came out, and she already knew that I questioned everything, and so she's like, so you don't even believe this is real, do you? I'm like, nope. She's like, okay, bye. So.
It's brutal, isn't it? I mean, some people are just that way out, I don't know, I guess I have a different kind of friends up here, at least my friends, they know I'm a flat earther, and we have the odd discussion about it. We don't really make a big deal about things, We have a joke about it, maybe 10 minutes every time we go out, and then we just move on. We just carry on like, I don't know, just friends do. We don't make a big deal of it. It's not like they're going to put a brick wall up between me and them. So I just couldn't imagine that level of not wanting to know somebody because they disagree with something.
Well, if it wasn't her field, I think that might be something that she could overlook. Like I said, we talked about everything under the sun, and she enjoyed watching the observations that I made. I would go over and show her stuff that I was taking pictures of and whatnot. So she enjoyed that passion that I had for my hobby, and but the COVID thing is her field. She's a nurse. She's a registered nurse at Johns Hopkins University, and so that, to me, I think that just took it to a whole nother level. Like I said, because they have the science, they have the data, they have all of the studies, and everything's black and white. So, otherwise, like I said, she was okay with being a little bit, she didn't like the fact that I didn't trust the government, but she could tolerate that stuff as long as it wasn't touching her field.
Okay,
Cognitive dissonance. We have two new members. Hi Gleam, hi Rakia Life.
Yay, Gleam, Rakia.
Oi oi.
Hello.
Okay,
now the party can start.
Yeah, now the party will start. Let me just address Professor Phil Bell again, who says this is about the ISS and the astronauts that are not up there. But anyway, he says their purpose is to do experiments. Okay, I haven't seen them do any experiments, but if you say so. And maybe you can tell what is the object that travels from the UK to Australia in 40 minutes. Now, I have never ever said that I do not believe that there is something up there, because I actually do believe that there is something up there, right? What I disagree with is that there are astronauts living in it. It's very simple. You can have a machine that exists traveling at those speeds up there, wherever the hell it is, doing in whatever capacity it is able to be up there, doing what it does, right? I don't know how our atmosphere works on a plane up at that elevation. It's quite possible that we may be able to float. Gleam might be able to talk about this, but one thing I don't think we do is have astronauts up there, and I think there's plenty of evidence to prove that isn't the case. To prove it, you just need to look at the debunking ISS stuff to understand that there's nobody living in that tin can up there. Nobody's throwing water up there with live wires everywhere. Nobody is doing that, Professor Phil Bell.
And the outside cameras of the ISS, as it floats over the Earth, you can just see all the anomalies and things that just don't add up. It's all CGI.
Gleam, what's your intake on this? You might have done a bit of research on this.
I've got an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other. Angel's whispering in my ear saying, the ISS can work on a flat Earth. Basically meaning that, put it this way, the scale is so big that if you can model out the actual flat Earth, the dome has to be at least 60,000 miles up, and these are only 250 miles up. So if you can go down the road
Hold on, wait a sec.
Okay. Yeah.
So the dome 60 miles, but the ISS is 250.
No, 60,000.
60,000 miles.
Yeah. Just to put it right the way up there. Put it this way: if the whole of the globe Earth universe is then collapsed and shrunk down into a dome, you've still got to have space to fit it all in. So I reckon you would need at least 60,000 miles, which is basically how one flat earther's calculated the circumference of the flat Earth. So if you imagine a half dome over that.
Do you think it's possible that in a enclosed system that we can have almost, sort of like like a vacuum. Well, just
No such, yeah.
just buoyancy, up there. That
Yes.
just
no such thing as a vacuum. Never has
Yeah.
been. Well,
I'm not
sorry,
gonna
there has
say-
been years ago, but never. I mean, I'm not coming from the point of view, it's such thin air, you've just got one molecule per meter squared. No, I'm not coming from that. Every single thing, I mean, space itself, empty space, is a misnomer. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. It's everything has to be full. And shout out Bob Nodell wherever you are, mate. But he's just posted me a thing that I've been watching Ken Wheeler for years, and he basically said 2 years ago, at least 2 years ago, that matter is just hard light or high energy light. And in phys.org this week, they've proved it.
really.
Yeah, I'll post it in the chat. Bob,
Yeah,
So-
I watched that. He just did a video on that. I thought it
Yeah.
was this week. Oh yeah,
it was
on
today,
Labor Day.
the 9th, yesterday.
It was Labor Day because he's like, I'm supposed to be on vacation. It's a holiday, but I'm gonna publish this video. Yeah.
That's it. I'll just
So-
post it in the general chat.
So wait a minute. Am I high energy?
Yes.
Light then? Is that?
Put it this way. The way how he explains it is that you know the EM spectrum, you know the color spectrum of high energy to low energy. Let's say X-rays to ultraviolet. Yeah. What he says is that matter is an extension. Let's say double that EM spectrum, and matter going right the way from gases right the way to solid gold or whatever is on that spectrum. All it is just a matter of frequency. A matter of frequency. That was good. The way I've done that. I like that.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, but it's at high frequency. What they've done is basically put two lasers interfering with it or crossing each other, and they managed to amplify the power by 7,500 times of what each individual laser could even produce, just by crossing them in such a way that's so small.
Never cross the street.
Exactly. That was perfect because that just roboted while you was doing that, but we heard every word.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
But yeah, just to get back to the ISS, yes, in as much as from a flat Earth perspective, in my eyes, there needs to be a mechanism to make things orbit. Let's say the moon, sun, whatever they are. If you don't think they're a solid object, fine. But let's go with the solid object argument. Then there needs to be a mechanism to float. And there has always been the theory of ether. Ether is like a sea of electrons. Let's say, yeah. Where if let's say we're in a snow globe, okay, and we fill that snow globe with electrons. Let's say God shook it around to start with and created a vortex. Yeah. Now you've obviously seen in charity boxes where you can put a 2p or 10p in, and it goes around, keeps on going around and round and round, like down into a funnel.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. So if you can imagine that, an orbit is just literally we chuck something up, it catches this vortex of ether. And it just keeps going round and round and round, and then eventually comes back to Earth. If you understand that, that is the way I understood it. If I've explained it right, I'm half shattered. I've been learning today.
So the videos that we see of these actors, suspended in zero gravity, do you think that maybe it's not actors and it really is what's happening?
Oh come on,
Okay.
that's not true, Gleam.
No,
and if you even go and tell me that there's actually people living in that space, I do believe that there's something up there. But to say that there's frigging people living in it and plugging holes with it with the finger, you're having a giraffe, mate.
Okay, so devil in me says, put it this way. Why wouldn't it be possible on a flat Earth using that sentiment? Let's pretend the globe Earth has got it wrong. It is the wrong shape, and it is a flat Earth. And all they're actually doing is just chucking stuff up in this electromagnetic vortex or ether vortex,
Or superfluid.
Yeah, I mean it's not a vacuum. So forget that argument of because if we switch over to the flat Earth, forget that argument of that's a vacuum. It isn't a vacuum. it's full of energy, and in my eyes, globe science has proven that with the likes of QED and whatnot. But Devil will say that there is nothing in my mind that says it couldn't work on a flat Earth with people in there. However, I will say there is one big Easter egg that Sir Lawrence Krauss. Have you heard of that name, Lawrence Krauss?
I
He's
have,
the
Yeah.
something from nothing guy. He was on a. If you look it up, it's the Edge, the Energy of Empty Space. It's called, and he held a gravity conference on none other than Epstein's Island with Epstein, sponsored by Epstein. But he done a gravity conference with all the majors, all the people from Harvard, CERN, LHC, everything. The LIGO, everything, and they all come together and discuss their own individual ideas of gravity. Now, in this, after this, he had an interview with this Edge.org magazine, and they're a science publication, and he said in there, and this is very, very interesting, and the only person I've confronted and actually made squirm on this is Miles Davis, and he hated it, trust me. But in this, he says, it was a delightful event where we went down in a submarine and all sorts of fun, where we defied gravity by having buoyancy, I guess. Now, those last words, we defied gravity by having buoyancy, I guess, are his exact quote for quote words. So I've asked any globe earther, and I'll ask even Dr. Phil Bellow over there, what was Lawrence Krauss meaning when he says we defied gravity by having buoyancy down in a submarine?
There we go. So Professor Phil Bell's in the chat right now. So he's going to get this. He's going to hear this within the next 30 seconds. So I'm expecting that probably within the next 2 or 3 minutes we're going to get a response from him. Hopefully, and if it's not a full response because he only has to type 200 letters per comment, we'll give him time. We'll give him 10 minutes to make a response, and he can just address that particular question. As many words as he wants, over as many comments as he wants. But yeah, if you could concisely explain what he meant by that statement. Thank you, Professor Phil Bell.
If you want, Ranty, I've just posted the link in the general chat. I've just got back and I've had to change all my router settings and whatnot because I do different VPN work. But either way, I can't actually pull up any website at the moment because I think I've destroyed my IP and everyone's denying me from looking at websites. So I'm just copying the link. So hopefully that works for you. It's the edge.org. Well, if you can post that in the chat, then he can at least listen to it. The video's in the top right-hand corner.
If he wants to join, I've actually just given him the link in case he would like to join. But knowing Professor Phil Bell, he probably won't. But at least the opportunity is there for him to join and have maybe a one-on-one with you. You know, maybe you can ask him face to face because he is a professor and he apparently is involved in the distribution, let's say, of satellites. So who better?
100% is.
Who better to ask? Who better to ask and to bring in and to defend the globe on this particular point? That would be really interesting. See if he actually joins.
I will say, obviously, once I heard that from Professor Phil himself, I did research him, and I will say, in my view, he has satisfied everything to say that he is who he is. He is who he says he is. Put it that way. I've managed to get his name from the university he teaches, as well as seen documents on the ISRO website mentioning him.
Shout out to Bill G, who's on his second beer. Oi, oi. Oi, oi, second beer. He's drinking with me. Nice one, Sunshine. Listen, we might be on different continents, but we can still enjoy a drink together, so happy days, happy days. Right.
Trust me, I need a drink after this.
Let's see what happens if Bill G wants. If Professor Phil wants to join. Maybe
Bill Phil.
Bill Phil.
Bill Phil. Bill Phil. Billy Steele.
Hey, Did you guys see the video that Chemo put out about Superfluid?
No, go on.
Space?
Go on.
Oh,
What did he say?
I don't know that I'm going to be able to recapitulate anything, but what you said touched on a bit of what Chemo's. I think it was earlier this week, but it was a pretty short, under no pressure on his channel. Under no pressure. I think it was maybe 5-6 minutes, but he basically talked about the possibility that whatever is up there is superfluid, and so that there is something, there is a medium in which these things can be suspended.
So I brought this up about a year ago, and Gleam, I know you've heard me say it lately, but Superfluid's been on my mind for about a year and a half. I saw a lecture at LSU about it, and it really interests me because things can be set in motion, whether they're physical or not, in this type of medium at certain pressures and temperatures, and they never will lose speed. So such as the sun, moon, stars, whatever. If they're in a superfluid or something like it, and they've been set in the certain pattern that they've been instructed to do, right? Like it has intelligence, it has things that, it's an amazing property. I think this is something that they're hiding from us that's finally kind of leaking out, so to speak. No pun intended, because the stuff will leak through everything.
That was a good one. That is a
right?
good one.
So, and it's made of helium, which is the most abundant gas that's going up and rising into that medium, right? Into that space, so-called. And, and the temperatures up there seem to be approaching what they're telling us that would cause this superfluid, and the pressures also match. So we're getting a lot of scientific proof that this superfluid medium can exist, and probably does exist above us, and could be explaining a lot of things. And I go along with the ISS saying if they can launch rockets or satellites or whatever and install them at certain speeds into this fluid, then yeah, they would sustain that they would sustain that circuit around us forever. Right?
Like frictionless. Yeah.
Frictionless, yeah.
Yeah,
So
can I give you
just one thing, guys? Let me just do a shout out to Esteban Labaca, who for 1,000 CLP, I don't know what that is, but it's not USD, but CLP. Right. He says he was probably mocking Sleeping Warrior's density. So, okay, density buoyancy. So maybe he wasn't even aware of Sleeping Warrior, but yeah, it's a fun comment. So thank you, I appreciate that. And we are joined actually by the one and only Professor Phil Bell.
Salute, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Professor Phil. How are you?
Okay, so I don't have a lot of time, but I've just just joined. I could hardly resist that challenge of yours. So basically, the question is, what did Professor Krauss mean? Bluntly, I can tell you I don't know the context of what he said, but I can tell you this. If he mentioned the word buoyancy, he obviously was referring to gravity, because you can't have buoyancy without gravity.
I beg to differ in saying that Archimedes did not have gravity all the way up till late 1600s. So
he may not have known what gravity. He may not have known what gravity was, or what the effect was happening. But Gleam, I defy you to calculate the force of buoyant force without gravity.
You can do, using the old Archimedes principle.
No, sorry, you can't.
Yes, you can. It worked. You need How did he get ships to float? The biggest ship, probably that would tower over most ships today. How did he get that to float for the king without any concept of gravity?
You can ask me how did they build the pyramids and all sorts of other things like that.
No,
but I can tell you now, if you're a shipwright, you'll be using the buoyant force and you'll be using gravity.
No, he didn't. There was no concept of gravity back then.
To do that. Yes.
It was weight.
It's always been the effect of gravity. Sorry.
It's just weight. That is all it was.
Weight is just a function of gravity and mass.
Now, yes, the concept has changed. It's a conceptual change. It is not a mathematical change. The result is still the same.
It's not a change. It never has changed. It's just that we know a lot more. That's all.
No, it has to have changed because they inserted a G in there, and that constitutes towards the weight.
The difference, Gleam, is that now we have precision. Precision because we can measure stuff and we know how it works, and therefore we can make predictions about.
How do you measure gravity? Sorry, how do you measure gravity?
Well, gravity is quite easy to measure. You just drop something and measure how fast it travels in a certain amount of time, and it'll give you the acceleration. That's gravity.
Okay, so why does it not work at the large scale and the small scale, which is what you run off yesterday when I asked?
Okay, so certainly at the very small scales, particles will behave, have a tendency to behave differently, and so yes, at the very small scales it doesn't work. Certainly at the scales of electrons it does, but once you get into the area of subnuclear particles, then that falls over.
Okay, cosmic.
And yes, that's because there are so many other factors involved in motion at that.
All right,
that,
so I'm just going to jump in. I'm just going to jump in and be rude because Gleam's not rude. Okay, he asked you how.
Why?
Okay, or why?
Why does it
right?
fail? Mm-hmm.
All you're doing right now, Professor, is telling us that. You're just simply telling us the story. Okay, so he's asked you why or how. And
why or how what?
Right.
Why
so
does gravity fail in the small or large scale? If it was right, put it this way, it would be scale invariant. If gravity dropping 9.8 meters per second was right here on Earth, obviously due to general covariance, it has to work everywhere, and it doesn't.
So you'd expect that, but the point is, as I was trying to tell you, is because at those very, very small areas, like in quantum mechanics, like subnuclear particles, then we're talking about other forces. There's other forces in effect that make the measurement or the
how many of those
the observation of gravity nearly impossible.
How many of those forces?
Yeah, I agree.
How many of those forces can you tell us about right now?
Well, there's for instance electrostatic forces, for instance.
Yes,
waves,
that is the biggest one.
Photons. There's a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I don't have.
But
time
now
to
let's
teach
go
you.
big
If you
scale.
want to learn about subatomic physics, please go ahead. There's plenty of stuff on it.
Let's go in the opposite direction then. Let's go cosmic. Why doesn't it work on galaxy rotations?
Well, I dispute that it doesn't. And again, it comes down to our limits of observational of being able to make clear observations, because we're not in the business of pretending that we know stuff that we don't, because we don't do that. And so if we don't know, we'll say we don't know, and we'll say, look, we can't make for whatever reason, we can't make this particular equation work in a particular environment. Well, that's fine, and that doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It just means we don't have the precision to measure how whether it does or not.
But can I come from a counter perspective and say, let me just cite Richard Feynman. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. But you're here telling me it's right. But the point I'm coming from, sorry, just 2 seconds. The point I'm coming from is that gravity as a concept, and I am not involved in this Newton versus Einstein argument. I don't care which one you use. They both resolve into a similar thing anyway. It's only at large scales do they differ. But let's say we have designed this concept of gravity based on a globe, based on it spinning all in this heliocentric model in the solar system only. It wasn't until 1930s microscopes got better, quantum mechanics come along, nuclear physics come along, and telescopes got better. And we discovered that there's other galaxies out there, or we're in a galaxy and there's loads of galaxies. Yeah. So we've designed this concept of gravity, 2 seconds, sorry, around this heliocentric model. And then we have tested it on large scales, doesn't work. Tested it on small scales, doesn't work.
No, I don't know why you would say that, Gleam.
You have to invoke 95% of imaginary supernatural nothing in order to make it work.
even Haley,
Yeah, you do.
was able to use Newton's Kepler's and Newton's work to
in the solar system.
to be able to tell us when the comet was coming and predicted it, to the minute. So we know we can predict where meteorites are. For instance, there's one passing Earth 4 million miles away.
Yeah, but it doesn't work all the time. Is my point. And it does not.
I tried to tell you.
Rumpus, stop just saying that.
Gleam, I tried to tell you at the far out.
I will confirm you are. But go on, Professor Bill.
We're not. It's not that it doesn't work, Gleam. It's that we're not going to pretend that we can test or discern it at out there, where it's far away. We're not pretending that we can do that. We're not saying it doesn't work. We're not going to pretend that it does. We're going to say it does when we can prove that it does, or when we can demonstrate that it does. Okay, so that's the difference. So people say, "Oh, it doesn't work out there." Well, no, it just means that we haven't tested it out there. That's all. No. It doesn't mean that it doesn't work.
No, okay? It has been tested. I'll give you the paper yesterday. Vera Rubin went through and documented loads of galaxies that exhibited the wrong rotational velocity. According to Kepler's theories, according to Einstein's theories, according to Newton's universal law of gravitation.
Right here in our own solar system, we've discovered that sort of where a planet seems to be regressing, going around the wrong way, and then discovered, hang on. And immediately people thought, oh, well, that's the end of Newton, because that proves that Newton was wrong, and then that would have been right. Except that when we got to later on, got to look at it further, realised why this observation was happening, and then bang on, Newton was right after all. This is going to happen. This will happen time and time again. It can't be a coincidence that all of this planetary motion actually works, according to what Newton said.
In your belief?
Nah, rubbish. In actual fact,
so the data says otherwise.
And then there's other things that point to the motion, like for instance, blue shift and red shift. These are undeniable.
They don't work though. In the expansion rate theory, expansion rate theory, they've used two different satellites, the Planck and the Hubble, and they both disagreed.
No.
Are you joking me?
I'm telling you now.
It's one of the biggest problems in physics at the moment. They are getting two different expansion rates. I can cite NASA right now.
He obviously doesn't care about the papers that you present, because when you talked about the paper you gave him yesterday, Gleam, he completely misdirected and went to our solar system when you were pointing him to a paper that addressed the other galaxy. So he doesn't care about your papers.
Okay, just back to these two, if possible. So just Gleam and Professor Phil for now. Cheers.
Okay, so Gleam, I want to get back to the ISS. Gleam, why do you first of all, Gleam, why do you think that? And even Ranty, may I ask you this question? Why do you think that there's nobody on the ISS?
Were you just listening to my response? I think Ranty should answer that. I've already answered that, Phil. Did you not hear?
Sorry, I'm not. Sorry, no. Listen.
Hear what you said.
Yeah. I'm not changing the subject. I'm not changing the subject. I want Gleam to continue his line of
I would have loved to, and that's why I laughed when he says, "I want to go back to the ISS." Phil, I did not say that there is no people in the ISS. I said, if it was a flat Earth, I cannot understand why it wouldn't work anyway. With the
okay.
Gleam, can you? Sorry, I just need to. I need to interrupt. Listen, Gleam, you mentioned something about NASA then, and the biggest
expansion rate problem.
Yes, the biggest problem in physics right now. So if you could stick on that, please.
It's not the biggest problem in physics to me.
It's one of them.
So,
if you could rather stick on that. Okay.
There are plenty. There are thousands of anomalies that are being dealt with all the time, that are being looked at all the time. Okay, there's thousands. There's so much to learn in physics. Okay,
I've just cited it in the general chat, by the way, Ranty, if you want to post it in the side chat so everyone can have a see. But just to cite them, I mean, it says astronomers using NASA's Hubble Space Telescope say that they have crossed an important threshold in revealing the discrepancy between the two key techniques of the universe's expansion rate. The recent study strengthens the case that new theories may be needed to explain the forces that have shaped the cosmos. This is NASA. I'm citing
So what?
NASA.
So what? We learn.
So you're
new
telling
things
me
all the
they're
time.
right, they're right, they're right, and NASA's saying we may need to change them. Actually,
Gleam.
there's a disconnect.
This is how the model is at the moment. It may change. Gleam. That's how science works.
That's science works. Yes, exactly that. It may change to a flat Earth, though. No,
I don't think it's going to change to a flat Earth, though. Sorry, the horse is bolted.
there's a
on that one.
percentage that it could be, though. Yeah.
No, Gleam. That's not going to happen.
That's not science. How can you
sorry,
settle something?
The horse is bolted on that one. You know, water is wet. It doesn't matter. The science not going to change that.
You seriously,
Okay,
either way, you just told me something works because you can drop something on Earth, which I believe it's your own personal energy that you've taken it out of equilibrium and given it gravitational potential energy in the first place. And then you just forget about that force, and then the force of gravity takes over your force that you put into the system. That somewhere disappears and destroys the first law of thermo.
Gleam,
so
if that was true, Gleam, if that was true, then I wouldn't be able to use this to be able to make, for instance, you know the formula S equals UT plus half GT squared. Do you know that formula?
Is
That's
that
the
one of the
formula
field
for projectile
equations?
motion.
Oh no, I don't know that.
That's the standard equation for projectile motion. Okay.
No, I don't know it.
Okay, it's S equals UT plus half GT squared. So basically, any projectile that you throw or shoot or whatever will form a parabolic motion in the as it takes the path through the air. Okay, so that's a fact of physics. So it will take a parabolic motion.
What does that have to do with it?
And that's the equation of the parabolic motion. Okay,
I don't get it.
UT plus half GT squared. What do you think the G is?
That would be gravitation.
Yeah, and how the hell would we know to be able to predict, for instance, let's say the Navy was going to shoot a target. Do you think that the Navy just guesses?
No, I'm from a naval family, and my father was an instructor.
Of course, yeah. Of course
no, of course they don't. But there's this thing called weight, and there's a concept of gravity.
They use this formula, and gravity forms part of this formula.
So that makes it real.
You bet it does.
Now, what concept
is it? Now, the Navy people...
So I could say that's ether. That's ether.
The Navy people who are doing this don't care
how
ether. Gravity works.
That's not gravity, that's ether. They misspelled the letter.
Tell me,
Newton was dyslexic.
Okay, all right, I'll go with your assertion. Tell me how ether... Tell me where in this formula S equals UT plus half GT squared is ether.
It is that exact same thing that you call G. Calculates
you think
the same way.
The ether is called G, is it?
No, it calculates the same way. It said, do you not understand that when you have two different competing theories trying to describe the same phenomena, neither can better or be chosen over the other without extra evidence, one having more evidence than the other?
Please tell me how
I learned that from Richard Feynman. What are you on about, rubbish? He was talking about the particle wave duality.
Richard Feynman is not the god of science, for starters.
I'm not saying he's a god of science. I said I learned it from him. Who are you to be saying that he's wrong?
I didn't say. I just said he's not the god of science. Okay?
Well, put it this way. There's a competing theory called wave-particle duality. You know about it, don't you? And literally, there is two different theories to describe something. One as a particle, one as a wave. Yeah, and they both resolve into the same thing.
There's only two accepted theories at the moment with respect to gravity. Okay, and that's Einstein's one and Newton.
Nonsense. There's chameleon theory. There's chameleon's theory. There's entropic gravity. There's many monds. There's lambda CDM.
Yes, and there's spring, and there's string theory, and all of that. I'm not talking about theoretical physics now.
So space-time is not theoretical physics.
No. It's demonstrated to be fact.
What is space-time? A fourth dimension. Yeah? That's
Yeah.
demonstrated to be fact. How did you demonstrate that?
Well, the experiments that were done, for instance, with Eddington showed that.
Yeah,
that-
in the
that-
solar
that-
system. Now we go back to using Einstein's same theories on the rotations of gravity, galaxies, and it doesn't work. Now we're back to that,
yes.
Phil.
Yes. What are you talking about? Who said it didn't work? You're just making that up.
Vera Rubin, I'll give you the paper yesterday. Did you
Yeah,
look at that paper?
Who said it doesn't work? What? Because
Vera Rubin
because somebody
documented it, and it was peer reviewed. It's one of the most peer reviewed.
And you think of all the work that's going on, it's that no one's going to figure out why this anomaly exists.
Wait there. I'm not saying no one is going to figure it out.
Right.
I'm saying no one has figured it out, and there's a problem with
There's
Einstein's
lots of stuff that
maths.
no one's figured out, Gleam.
Oh,
There's lots
my
of
God.
stuff no one's figured
Well,
out.
then we're just going to go around in loops.
throw the
When
baby
you
out
say
with the
this
bathwater.
definitely works, I tell you and show you that it doesn't, and then you say, "Oh yeah, but science is developing." It's a
Gleam.
loop. It's a loop, and I
all,
don't want
all
to.
of these
It's
things,
a quantum
all
loop
of these
theory.
things we use. All of these things we actually use. We actually use to make predictions with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know
We
you
use
do.
gravity to make predictions with it, Gleam.
And it fails on large scales and small scales.
Gleam,
That's why it's been replaced in the standard model with
Rubbish.
quantum mechanics.
I told
QFT
you all,
is the model.
I already told you, Gleam, that at the very, very small edges, we can't actually discern how gravity works because of the other
and that's
forces.
what I'm telling you. And at the very big
Well,
scale,
that doesn't
it's the
mean it
same.
doesn't work, Gleam.
Put it this way,
Which part of that
it
don't you
doesn't work.
understand?
If you got the whole universe, gravity would not work more than it would work because it works in this little solar system. You know how big this solar system is. And then as soon as you take it out of the solar system, it goes blah, factor of 10 out.
Anyway, it's lovely to hear you describe the solar system, Gleam, because you know that's the way
Yes, it works.
is. Whether or not we whether you obviously you picturing a flat Earth inside a solar system. Okay, that's fair enough.
No, I'm not. You're making stuff up now. I'm picturing the flat Earth model would be all of the universe shrunk into a dome. Yeah, so it's much closer. Obviously, the sun's only 4,000 miles ish. Yeah, moon's only 4,000 miles.
You think that the
No.
entire universe is squashed into a dome 60,000 miles or whatever, do you?
I'm not. I'm saying it's a good thought experiment. Yes, I do think that.
A good thought experiment.
Yes, and it's been modelled. Steve Torrance has modelled it and actually made it match reality.
I no, it's not possible to make it match reality.
Just
okay?
not and ain't gonna cut it, Professor Phil. Go and look at his channel.
The moon is further away than that.
Well, either way, in your model, yes. However, listen, to squash it all in. Now, listen, the core thing is, if gravity was right, let's assume it was right. Yeah.
What do you mean it was right?
No,
What do you mean?
No, listen. Let's assume that it should work on these galaxies. And what we've actually got, because we've got issues with redshift, and don't tell me we haven't. Okay?
We haven't.
Cosmological redshift problem is a thing. You cannot tell me it isn't.
No, not a problem. That's how we determine how fast things are going away from us.
Yes,
the Doppler effect is the Doppler effect is established science.
Why have you got a discrepancy in the measurement then?
It don't. Says, I'm just making it up.
I've just cited NASA. Can you look in the general chat? It says literally the Hubble team are getting a different result to Planck.
Look, because there are anomalies that we don't understand yet, does not mean that the underlying theory is wrong. Do you understand that?
Well,
Do you
why
understand
are they saying
that
the recent study strengthened case that new
why don't you just read the
theories-
whole paper, Gleam, and then maybe you'll get why they say
It's
that.
a NASA article. It's a NASA
but
article.
Read the whole paper, Gleam.
I have, and I understand that one of them saying it's X amount of speed, the other one saying it's another X amount of speed.
And what's their conclusion about that?
They have not
concluded.
concluded.
Did they conclude that redshift doesn't work? Was that the conclusion they reached?
Of course not. Of course not.
Then shut the fuck up.
What? You've got a problem with it. Your scientists will refuse to say and admit that, oh, there is a problem with this, even though Holt and Arp did. He actually come forth and got shut off all telescopes for even suggesting it. But either way, his suggestion was we've misscaled the universe wrong because the quasars we've been using exhibit the same redshift when they're right next to each other, when they should be millions of miles apart or millions of light years apart, and they're exchanging matter. Yeah. Now, getting back to the rescaling. Well, either way, look up Holton Arp, A-R-P. He's a lead astronomer. He's got stars named after him, quasars.
So what?
Either way.
So with people, so I've
Either
told
way.
you this. Which part of this don't you understand? There are thousands of anomalies. It doesn't mean that the underlying theory doesn't work. It means that we've got to figure out why that particular anomaly exists. Just like they worked out for the rotation for the rotation of Mars, for the orbit of Mars, and so on. You've got to work out why that particular because we can use all of this. It works all over here, and then we find an anomaly.
Ultimate question.
Because we found an anomaly, we're going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. No, we're going to look for what the anomaly is. If someone else can debunk it in any other way, well, that's different. Then we'll throw the theory out.
Okay, now let me put forward this. The peer review have accepted Eric Verlin's theory called the entropic theory of gravity. Okay?
Right.
Are you aware of this theory? Because what he says is gravity is no longer a fundamental force of physics. It would be a byproduct or a second order effect from thermodynamic entropy of quantum foam, the underlying background quantum.
Well, there'll be a lot of people who disagree with that, and I'll be one of them.
Okay, but he's been accepted stage 1 into the peer
So
review.
what?
What do you mean? So what? If he was a crackpot, they would have threw it out. They've given him funding.
No, all he's saying is that that he's developed a model that appears to work. Now, let's see if he can use his model to work to determine whether a ship can hit a target. Let's see if his model works for that.
Professor Phil Bell, his model derives into Einstein's.
Right. In that case, that's fine.
And gets rid of dark matter using just maths.
Okay, so what's the problem?
The problem is he's saying gravity doesn't exist, and you're telling me this is definitely existing.
And you know the eighth tensor in Einstein's field equation includes gravity, don't you?
Of course. And he's saying that is not the right concept of what is happening. It's a different concept. There is no such thing, separate thing, as gravity. What it is the thermodynamic entropy of the system of the background quantum foam.
That's his model of it. That's his model of it. That's how he look.
It goes right the way back to Leonard Susskind's holographic theory.
Quiet for a second. Other people put forward string theory. There's so many different theories around that work. However, the people who actually have to do the work, who actually have to put a satellite there, who actually have to do stuff that relates to it, the people who have to actually shoot targets, we use Newton's law of gravitation. Okay?
You can do. I accept and I agree it works within the solar system. I've said that. It's not the correct concept. Are you not understanding that?
No, you can't talk about what's correct.
It's been proven to be incorrect.
No. Do you know what a model means? Do you know what a model means, Gleam? Do you know what it means to have a scientific model?
Yes, one that works. Not 95% wrong.
Just because there's anomalies doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means we don't know what that anomaly is.
That's a bloody big anomaly, Phil. That's a bloody big anomaly.
That's your words. That's your emotional words.
95%.
That's your emotional words.
Okay. My emotional words backed by science. Peer-reviewed science.
Here we go again. I've told you this, and you seem to not be able to understand this simple concept. We're not saying that gravity doesn't even work at the quantum scale. We're just saying that we can't observe it to work at the quantum scale because of the other forces.
I know.
Right. So
but it's incompatible with It's incompatible with superposition. That's why it's been kicked out. Neither Newton or Einstein. It's been kicked. You look up on the CERN's page.
You're barking mad? Are you nuts? It's
No.
it's the premier physics theory of all time, practically.
Nonsense. Nonsense. It's the most ambiguous theory of all time. you mean.
Rubbish. You don't understand
It's the
it.
most ambiguous force in all of them. If I don't understand it, why is there bloody 95% dark of this nothingness because of it? There's 67% dark energy, which is anti-gravity, pushing everything apart. Einstein didn't predict that, did he? Cosmological constant was set to 0, wasn't it?
Einstein even predicted gravitational waves.
That completely distracted what I just said. But either way, you're not going to accept this. But if you look up on CERN's own website, it says that there is a problem. I'll actually cite it. It's the standard model. If everybody can search in Google, the standard model, CERN. I can't cite it because I am locked off the internet. Either way, I'm just about to drop it.
I suggest you read the entire papers, okay?
I have read them. That's why I am confident in what I'm saying.
Glenn, where is the big news that Einstein GR no longer applies? Where's the big news for this? Who got the Nobel Prize for debunking Einstein?
No one has resolved it. Yeah, if you search for gravity on there or something.
I've got 4 minutes.
It's just coming up on the live stream. But it's ridiculous, Phil. I mean, you've distracted and gone away, and
Gleam,
you've basically said all our theories do work. It's
Gleam,
just we haven't figured them all out yet.
Gleam, I'm a scientist. I don't go around cherry picking little things and saying, "Oh, well, this proves this. This proves this." Okay, because it doesn't, Gleam. For every one of the scientists out there, just like me, there's that many opinions as well.
I'm sorry, but experiment is king. Measurements are king.
Yes, it is. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. And
the
measurements using those same theories are wrong at large scale and wrong at small scale. So they can't be right.
No, Glenn.
No matter how beautiful it looks, no matter
you keep
who
agreeing.
the guy
every time
is.
I get back to you, you agree with me, and then 3 minutes
I never
later,
agree with you, Professor Phil. From when we first started engaging, when you said Asia was the highest continent on Earth, and I showed you that NASA and your own blinking company that employs you says no, it's Antarctica. Yeah, you thought because there is a big mountain in Asia that makes it the tallest continent. No.
I said it was the tallest, and I'm right.
Rubbish.
Overall,
either way, I've got the sites.
Yeah.
Either way, I said to you the net charge on stars, Phil. Yeah. Either way, read this site. So far, so good. But that's where it is. Can you read from there? Because I can't see.
I can't read it, but it doesn't matter.
No, Ranty, can you? No, it does matter. It very much does matter.
Well, I can't read it, so leave a link, and I'll read it later on. And I'll give you a better answer about what
the standard model.
Yeah,
so
like
far,
you
so
read those
good.
other articles you linked.
But it's not time for physicists to call it a day yet, even though the standard model is currently the best description there is of the.
Go up the same amount up into the last one. That's where it explains. Is not if you can go everyday lives.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Up a bit, up. So above, so far, so good, but above that, it says, it's not catching up on the actual screen. Let me go.
There are 4 fundamental forces at work in the universe: the strong force, the weak force, the electromagnetic force, and the gravitational force. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, they work over different ranges and have different strengths. Gravity is the weakest, but it has an infinite range. Is that right? The electromagnetic force also has an infinite range, but it is many times stronger than gravity. The weak and strong forces are effective only over a very short range and dominate only at the level of subatomic particles. Despite its name, the weak force is much stronger than gravity, but it is indeed the weakest of the other three. The strong force, as the name suggests, is the strongest of all fundamental interactions.
Yep.
Keep
Not
going.
disagreeing with that at all.
It was at the part where it said gravity is omitted because it's we're finding it a difficult challenge to fit it comfortably in a single framework.
Yeah, I was actually getting to that
Sorry.
down here.
Yeah, it's that. It's three of the. Yeah, is it a bit further down?
Hold on.
Oh, I'm still stupid.
Omitting gravity, is that the one?
Okay. I thought it was just above this bit, or have you just read that because I just nipped and got a quick?
No, well, it was below that.
Just scroll up a little bit onto that.
Are you even reading
Here,
the context of this?
Here,
Are
there.
you even reading the
Shush,
context
shush,
of this
shush.
article?
I'll read it now that I've had a drink.
Okay, well, just read it in your own time.
Are you ready?
I told you I had 4 minutes to go. My time is up now, so I'm going to
You
go.
got 2 minutes.
Carry on.
2 minutes.
The standard model includes electromagnetic strong and weak forces and their carrier particles, and explains.
So far, I've got no argument with any
Hang
of this.
on.
Okay.
However, the most familiar force in our everyday lives, gravity, is not part of the standard model. Did you read this bit, Ranty?
No, I've just got
Yep.
to that point.
So, however, the most familiar force in our everyday lives, gravity, is not part of the standard model, as fitting gravity comfortably into this framework has proved to be a difficult challenge.
What is it? What's
Hang on.
described by the standard model? This particular writing I'm talking about.
What's described by it's the
Does
four
this
fundamental forces, and one of them's
particular
omitted.
model describe all of motion? Does it? Does this
No, the
particular
next
writing
sentence, the next
describe all of
sentence,
motion?
Phil, the next
It's the
sentence
standard
sums it
model
all
of
up.
particle physics.
The next sentence sums it
Okay,
all
so
up.
we're back to particle
The
physics
next
now.
sentence sums it all up. Go ahead, Gleam.
Do you understand why? Shall we go over this again?
No,
Gleam?
can I just read the rest of this? If that's
Let's just read this.
It
Let's
doesn't
finish
make
this
a
up.
difference, Gleam, because
It
you're
does.
reading stuff you don't understand.
Let's just finish it
Oh
up.
my God! You
Let's
cannot
just finish
say I
it
don't
up.
understand it
No,
when
you
you're
don't,
telling me
Gleam.
it doesn't
You
even
don't understand
exist.
it, okay, that's why you're bullshitting like this. Okay.
Okay, let me
You
just read
cherry-pick
it,
stuff
please.
you don't
This is from
understand.
CERN.
Can I
Gleam,
just read
let's
it,
get back
please?
to the fundamental, Gleam.
Can I just read this?
Did you understand why gravity is omitted in the?
Yes, read it,
not
read it,
considered
Gleam.
in the particle
Yeah.
model?
Go ahead, read it.
Did you understand why?
The quantum
Yeah, in the
theory.
quantum physics. Did you understand why
The-
I told you that?
Go ahead and read it, Gleam.
The
Did you
quantum
understand this?
theory
Because-
used to describe the micro world, and the general theory of relativity used to describe the macro world are difficult to fit into a single framework.
Do you understand it's got Gleam? Do you understand it's got to do with the fact that we've got no way of discerning gravity at that level?
No one has managed to make.
Are you
no
turned
one
into a musician now?
Well,
have you?
I'm trying to talk, but you're seriously trying to over talk. For some reason, Phil.
All right, I've got to
I don't
go.
understand.
You can
okay,
you can talk.
no
talk
one
to me
has
about it.
managed to make the two mathematically compatible in the context of the standard model.
I've
but look-
told you why. Which part
know.
don't you understand?
I know why. Because it's not the
Well,
correct
then why are you arguing
concept.
with me if you know why?
Because it's not the correct concept, and you're saying it is.
No, Gleam. It's because
You're
we've
saying
got
Newton's
no way
rules
of,
or
we've got
Einstein's
no way of
rules.
discerning gravity in amongst all the other forces at the quantum level. That's why.
No, they do not mathematically fit. You cannot have superposition in Newton's theories.
We can't just make
Come
up the
on.
mathematics for it, Gleam. All right, but I can
Classical
give you momentum
mechanics
at that level. Gleam,
and
I
quantum
can give you
physics
momentum at that
are
level.
different.
Gleam, did you know that P is equal to E over C? Did you know that?
No,
I bet you
I
didn't know
didn't.
that, did you?
No,
Gleam, P
No.
equals E over C. Do you know what P
but you did
stands
not
for?
know what I'm citing.
Gleam,
I cited
Gleam.
NASA. I cited
Shut the
CERN,
hell
and
up.
you're telling
Gleam.
me you need to
Did
go,
you know
Phil.
that
Seriously,
E,
you're getting
did you
so
know that
red.
E equals P over,
Red.
that P equals E over C? Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, there you go. Right there is momentum. P equals E. Now, when we get past the quantum stage and we get to like electrons, we can now say P equals mv. Okay? Before that, we're not going to make stuff up. if we can't show it in an experiment, we're not going to make it up. So we're not going to say that we can include gravity in this particular thing.
So what is dark energy and dark matter? If you're not just making and virtual particles, if you're not just making it up, virtual particles.
No, Gleam. You're just a cherry picker, right? You go around looking for articles. You don't have a bloody clue what you're reading.
Mathematically, you've had to create other things which deviate from what you're saying.
You search the internet for words that suit you.
Rubbish.
Yes,
I've
you do.
deeply looked into both
You don't
topics.
understand, Gleam. And when I tried to explain to you,
and
you
Richard
then agreed with
Feynman,
me.
and they do a better job of explaining than you do with your ums and ahs and distraction tactics.
And then when I've explained it to you, you agree with me, and then not 3 minutes later, then you start arguing again.
I agree with you that Newton's and Einstein's works within the solar system because it's exactly a subset. So there is a new theory out there which supersedes both Einstein and Newton.
And you agree why
and
we
it
can't
could be
include
ether or nothing. It could be a complete rid of gravity and change it for the ether, the quantum foam.
No,
as
you
Eric
can't.
Verlin,
There's no
Verlin
evidence
suggests
for anything called ether, Gleam. You're just making that up.
It's quantum foam. They've changed it to.
There's no evidence for ether. Okay, I'm not saying there isn't any, but I'm just saying there's no evidence for it.
Is the evidence of ether?
No, there's no evidence for ether.
So what is the Casimir effect then?
Okay, there's no evidence for ether.
Attract and repel just for a laugh.
No, Gleam. There's no evidence for ether, and if there was, it would be big time news. Okay. All right, I really do have to go.
Look up Einstein ether theory.
I've got to go.
About
Gleam.
200, 300 papers this month alone.
I've got to go.
Bye-bye.
I'm already 1 minute late.
You're going to get detention.
Oh, wow, what can I say? That I need to clap you for that.
That was
what
well worth the
an
price.
asshole.
Mate, I've been travelling on a train from Birmingham through London on the underground.
I just needed to clap you for that, mate. That was awesome.
Gleam was spouting absolute rubbish. Nothing he said was true.
Okay, well, before we get into the before we get to the rumpers, I'm going to shout out a couple of super chats. So, Lumberjack says, "Man, do I love some Gleam? He loves the Gleam." But we also have a little question for Gleam, who says, from Esteban Ilibanca, Gleam, does Valendi's theory explain why things fall in orbits? If so, it's a candidate for a new improved theory. Won't make the flat Earth. Do you know what that is? Valendi's theory?
Yes, it does. It does exactly that. And the reason why it's not accepted, the reason why it hasn't passed stage 2 of peer review, is because it still requires dark energy. And that's a problem that you have to fix. When you're coming up with new theories, you need to fix dark matter, which he did, but you also need to fix dark energy, which he didn't. And he is adapting his theory now to fix that very thing. He's just done a recent lecture on it.
Cool.
So, but this is a mainstream theoretical physicist, nothing to do with any flat Earth or anything like that.
Nothing mainstream about what he's
suggesting. Well, let me
Rubbish, he's one mainstream.
Well, hold on. Before you two get into this, I just want to promote Gleam tonight because he is apparently, as I've just heard, going to be appearing on Globebusters this Sunday. So that is a massive compliment for you, Gleam. Do you want to give us a little insight into that?
Yeah, will Sir Nodell give us a shout about ether? It's the exact same thing. And I'm going to go into it more detail of my belief and my. I said it to somebody today, and I think it's a perfect summary. I know nothing about what ether is. However, I've read its biography, you can say.
You can't even say nothing, can you? You're an idiot. You can't. You have to say nothing. You can't even say nothing properly.
Is that what you got?
Okay, well, hang on. Hold on one sec, guys. One sec.
Yeah, way to attack the first.
One sec. More often than not, I actually ask a lot of questions from the chat without a super chat. In fact, my realm has just had a go at me saying, "Do you only speak out super chats?" No, I don't, not at all. I will often pick out something that I see of interest. So because this person's had a go, apparently orbit of the moon and sun is in a controlled environment under the firmament. Ranty, I'm looking for a question that this My Realm has put. I'm sorry, but I cannot see a question that you've put to me. But if I've missed it, I do apologise. But I try my best here. People ask questions, and I do shout them out, even if they don't do a super chat. So this isn't one of those channels that does that. But thank you for the comment anyway. I'm just looking to see if you did actually put a question. I don't see a question. If you've got a question, put it in the chat and I will respond to it. So anyway, Rob Keane, he has a question. $5, thank you very much.
Smash the super chat.
Smash the super chat. Right, go ahead. Right, Rumpus Gleam, away you go. Let's get into this. Here we go.
Well, Gleam just spouts complete and utter rubbish. He just quotes the odds. He's got the odd citation that he doesn't understand, and he thinks if he mentions it, and the fact that he's read a bit of NASA, he's watched some whatever that guy, I forgot his stupid name, Valenkin or whatever his name is, watched a lecture of his. He thinks he understands, but he doesn't. Sorry.
You mean Feynman, Susskind, Lewin? I've watched all those lectures, hours of them, countless.
Yeah, but you don't understand any of them. I mean, you didn't. I mean, for instance,
yeah, that's a good argument. That's making me look like a genius, Rumpus.
But the fact that you don't understand anything. Okay.
Well, just saying it and not backing it up with any bloody content.
Well, you don't. I mean, you didn't. You claim to understand. Well, I think you claim to understand this stuff, but you don't even understand the most basic physics. I mean, for instance, when Professor Bell asked you if you understood if you met the equation S is equal to ut plus a half AT squared, you'd never met that. This is something like 13-year-olds have to deal with. You don't even understand what momentum is. You misuse all the terms. You don't understand anything you read. You spend hours and hours, obviously, you claim, watching this stuff, but you don't understand it. You don't understand any of it.
You get angry by yourself.
I mean, your galactic rotation claim. For instance, let's claim your biggest paper that you offered on the galactic rotation. You didn't. There were 5 equations in that paper, and you thought one that was V was voltage and not velocity. You didn't understand any of it, and George and I went through it and picked it apart. And
listen, one thing. I have a question. And that's symptomatic
of your whole approach. You just cite papers.
You're muted. All of you are muted. Nobody can hear you. Nobody can hear you. Nobody can hear you because I've muted you all, guys. So 1 sec. Listen, I have a question for the Rumpus, and I heard a rumor that the Globers are very angry with you. I don't know why, but do you have anything to say with why they may be angry with you?
I've no idea. Never heard this before.
Well, it's been put out quite a lot recently by a lot of different people saying that they're just not happy with the way that you're going into these debates and stuff. Do you have a response to that?
You're making that up, I suspect.
No, I saw it on the last show. I mean, you can watch the last show and you will see me talking about it and responding to people in the chat that were asking about that, saying that the Globers...
Well, I haven't seen it.
No
idea what you're talking about.
I don't know because I don't really follow the Globe,
I've been busy doing other stuff, so I've not seen any gossip, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, that's fair enough. I just wanted to ask because I was going to defend you.
No, don't ever defend me. Ranty, never defend me. That's not what I want. Because you're always wrong, you see. As you're always wrong, I'm afraid that I don't want you.
So if I'm always wrong, right?
I've just received a message, actually.
Wait a minute. I'm always wrong.
Of someone not being happy with me about my performance, and the thing is, apparently they're unhappy with me, is coming on here and giving you any credibility by coming on your show. That apparently is what they're upset about.
Okay, right. So I'm always wrong. So yes. if I make a statement right now, I'm going to be wrong, right? So I'm going to make a statement which is always wrong.
If it's contentious,
so hold on.
If it's in any way contentious, if it's 1 + 1 = 2, you'll be right about it. But anything contentious, you are wrong about.
So anything sort of like what my beliefs are or things like that. So if I make a belief statement, then it's going to be wrong.
Yeah, about always.
Yeah, not always. So I'm going to make a statement now. The Rumpus is always right.
You see that? Dear me. Well, that must. Yeah. Well, I'm afraid. Yeah, that's going to put you in a difficult position now.
Yes,
yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. What are you going to say
now? We've got a contradiction on our hands here because it's an established rule of the internet that I am always right. So.
But you're not, though.
I am, though.
Yeah, I've got plenty of comments where you actually say you're wrong. I was actually wrong. Yeah, I was actually wrong.
No, hold on. You're claiming that I have posted that I am wrong.
No, I'm claiming that you have actually spoken on this channel that you were wrong several times. Well, I can't remember right now.
I think it was one occasion. There was one
so you're
occasion.
not always right then.
Well, it's so close to being 100%, we can't measure it.
Listen, there's a difference between always being right and being wrong once.
Yeah, but we live in it. For all practical purposes, I'm always right.
I enjoy you coming on the show, I have to say. Right. Anyone want to have a debate with the Rumpus? Away you go.
Yes, I was just in the middle of pointing out the Gleam's favourite paper on the galactic rotation because he was just quoting that as one of his main arguments about the failure of
rubbish.
gravity.
You're making a mistake.
Understand the very paper that he got. It's only a 5-page paper, and it's only got 5 equations in it.
You're wrong. You're talking about a different paper, mate.
It's the one that you offered.
No,
it's the
rubbish.
One that
you obviously don't know then. You rubbish.
I do.
You're talking
it's
shit.
It's the one you offered us as your main argument.
Be quiet.
It was your favourite. No, I haven't.
Be
no,
quiet.
you interrupted. You interrupted me, Gleam. Gleam, you interrupted me. Gleam, you interrupted me. Gleam, you interrupted me.
Okay, right. Listen. No, you're not going to finish your sentence. Let me just make a few rules tonight. So please, everybody, at least let somebody get to the end of the sentence and then let the other one respond. You know, let's keep it a little bit civil just tonight. I can't be arsed with all the arguments.
Gleam can have his turn and I won't interrupt him. Gleam used to offer this particular paper as his favourite paper about the failure of gravity and supporting his claim that galactic rotation invalidated gravity. It's only got 5 equations in it. It's not even a proper paper. It's not in a journal. And it's absolute drivel. And Gleam doesn't understand it. George and I picked it apart. And it's the paper that he offered to us as his main explanation for the failure of galactic rotation. And it's utter drivel. It's not in a proper journal. And Gleam doesn't even understand even the 5 very simple equations in it. I've finished.
Okay.
Negative, Mike.
Checker.
Thank you.
Anyway, Rumpus, you've just completely embarrassed yourself because if you go back to Branty's stream yesterday with me talking to Professor Phil, I cited Vera Rubin's and Kent Ford's paper in 1980. Ranty, can you do us a favour? Because as I say, I'm locked off the internet with that IP thing. Can you load up a Google and search for this one thing? It will come up straight away.
Well, it's not the paper you offered to George and I.
You said I could have a go. You said I could have a go.
Yeah, and you've had as long as I've had. How long do you want, Gleam?
No,
you can't monopolise the next 5 minutes.
I've only had 1 minute.
You think I was speaking for 10 minutes just now, do you, twat? I spoke for about 30 seconds. I spoke for about 30 seconds in total, you twat.
You're a dick.
Okay, listen, hold on. I need to interrupt again, Rumpus. 1 second, Rumpus.
You got me over a barrel.
1 second, everybody, you're on mute, so it's fine. Nobody can hear you, so it's all good. Right, listen. I just want to have a bit of back and forth. And if it needs be that Gleam is going to take me a minute to find something to discuss this with you, it doesn't matter that you've had 30 seconds and he's had a minute, because ultimately it's been 40 seconds of me looking for something. So just allow Gleam to find what he's going to look for, and then you two can debate till your heart's content. How's that? It's not 50-50 down the line about who gets to speak the most. It's about who's speaking the most relevant things. So Gleam, please tell me, what is it I'm to search for?
Vera, V-E-R-A. Space Rubin, R-U-B-I-N. Space. Yeah, 1980. Space paper. And it should come up with 21 rotational galaxy.
Yes, I see that.
Okay, load that up, please. Is it the Harvard one? Or can you
yes,
put
it is
out
the
on
Harvard. It's the Harvard one. Yes.
Can you? I don't think you're doing a live in the Discord.
I am right now.
Okay, that must be me. There we go. Okay, so this was the one I cited Professor Phil. Now, just to explain, this is Vera Rubin, the woman who basically documented all the rotational velocity problems and discrepancies, and she's basically the discoverer of dark matter, let's say. It was originally suggested by Janort and Fritz Zwicky way back in the 1930s, but she was the one. She's a Feynman student, and she was the one that documented all of these in her spare time. She was basically the woman should have got the Nobel Prize, but never did because she was a woman. Basically, in my personal view of what I've read about her, she's a smashing girl anyway. But either way, go down here. If you can just scroll down and go through a few of the pages and just see, he said that there was 5 equations. Yeah. Now, what he's actually talking about is another paper called Galactic Charge, which has nothing to do with this. So, Rumpus, I've just ruined you. You ain't got me over no barrel, mate. I've got 2 barrels.
I quoted the paper that we talked about. The fact that you quoted, and hold on, let me finish. The fact that you were talking about another paper yesterday has got nothing to do with the paper you offered to us and George as your best explanation for the failure of gravity in regards galaxies. The fact that you've been talking subsequently, if you think that is an argument, you're an idiot. How should I know what you've been talking about yesterday? What relevance is that to what I said, you twat? Jesus Christ, what a moron.
Okay, now let me respond. Okay, you just come in here, Rumpus, and said, "Oh, and the paper he's citing to Professor Phil."
I didn't say
a load of bollocks.
I didn't mention anything about you presenting a paper to paper. I was talking about the one you presented to us and me and George, you idiot. Remember what I said? You can't even remember what happened 10 seconds ago, can you? My God.
You're making it up as you go along. Why did you even mention the paper?
Goldfish.
Rubbish. You rewind and you'll be able to hear it. But this is the one I was on about.
Phil, when I complained about your paper, you twat.
You was just saying in the paper.
Okay, well, listen. I don't want to talk about yesterday. Here and now, there is a.
Yeah, let's deal with now.
Let's deal with now.
Okay, what is this paper, Rumpus? Explain this paper, please.
I have no idea. I may have seen this before, but I can't. I don't recognise this immediately.
Okay, this is a documentation of all the galaxy rotation curves being misaligned with Newton's theories and Einstein's theories.
No, they're not.
And Kepler's laws.
No, they're not.
Listen, he's just cited a paper. Have you?
No, he just said something. I don't believe it says that anywhere in this paper.
Okay, hold on 1 second. You said you may not have read it, and automatically your default position is that it isn't what he says it is. So,
correct, because I know Gleam's always wrong, and I know what he said.
Hold on.
He's just implying that gravity fails. He's not allowing for dark matter, and I bet you in this paper it does.
One thing, let me finish. So, just by the fact that Gleam has presented something and said, this is what this says in this paper, you're automatically going to turn around and say, that is incorrect, you are wrong, without even reading it.
Because I know what Gleam just said is not supported by any, by mainstream physics, mainstream cosmology. He said that Newton and Einstein thing failed, or something to worse that effect, because he's trying to ignore the existence of dark matter. So what he's trying to say, well, has said this. If you remove dark matter from the equation, then there is a problem. But if you have dark matter in there, there isn't a problem. So he's wrong. What he said was trying to say if we don't have dark matter, then we have a problem. I bet this paper does not say that.
Okay,
I bet the paper does not say what Gleam just said.
Hold on. Well, let Gleam explain in his own words, because you put words in his mouth, right? And what he was supposedly saying. Let Gleam answer for himself and say what he is going to say about this paper.
As I said just 2 minutes ago, this is Vera Rubin's and Kent Ford's 1980s paper of documenting the incorrect velocities of rotational curves of galaxies.
Okay? I bet you nowhere does it say it's incorrect velocities. You just made that up.
Listen, as I said before, this was the revolutionary paper that then made dark matter be.
Yes, so if you allow for dark matter, there's no problem.
Listen, okay, can you just, I've got to cite someone because you're saying I'm full of shit, yeah?
Yeah, you
So
are.
I have to cite someone. So is Dr. Don Lincoln from Fermilab a good citation?
The point is, if you include dark matter, everything's not a problem.
I just need a yes or no, because I don't
no
want
idea
to
what you're
waste too
talking
much
about.
time.
No idea what you're talking about.
Okay, Ranty, can you go into the chat? Not B-Ball for Life's one, even though that is a good one. But if you see there, it says how Vera Rubin found the first direct evidence for dark matter.
Yeah, fine, exactly.
What do you mean, yeah, fine, exactly?
Oh, look,
That's exactly what I just said.
Let me explain it to you slowly. You said that it was incorrect in this paper, but if you allow for dark matter, as I said, there isn't a problem. So they found there was some missing matter, and the
She was the one.
I'll bet you don't even understand what. For instance, Glenn, do you not know why there could be just not dark matter, but just simply matter that is dark, normal conventional matter that is dark? Do you know why that possibility is excluded?
Look,
I bet you don't.
Look,
You're dodging, aren't you? You don't know.
You're dodging. You're dodging.
No,
we're talking about the papers, and I was just about to show the other paper.
Right, the paper says that there's not enough mass in the galaxy to account for its rotational behavior. Normal mass. But there could be. This is mass that we can see. Now, why do you think they're saying it could? Why are they excluding the possibility, for instance, of black holes or other or
why
brown
are we talking
dwarfs?
about something
Hold on, let me finish. Or other matter that's simply not very bright, can't be seen. Why do you think they've excluded that possibility?
What, have I just proved you've distracted the conversation well away from these papers?
No, I haven't. I'm trying to get you to understand the paper.
No, I'm dragging you right back.
Why do you think
nonsense?
No,
mate.
you see, you don't understand.
You know nothing about this.
You don't understand what I said.
You know nothing about
problem.
this.
No, you don't understand the issue, do you? You're just a moron.
Why
So
don't you want to talk about the
let's
papers?
start again. The reason there's a problem is the reason they
Why don't you want-
they
who
had
is
to invent
Vera
dark
Rubin?
matter. The reason they had to invent dark matter was because they knew in these galaxies there wasn't a normal amount of conventional matter to account for the rotational behavior. And I bet you don't know why that is, because you don't understand the paper.
I do. It's
No, you
because
don't.
they used, on one side of the equation is Newton's laws of motion. On the other side is the gravitational mass. They did not marry
How
up.
did they determine the gravitational mass?
I've just got to shut you down right now.
How did they determine the gravitational mass?
Rumpus, shush, please.
How did they determine
Please,
the gravitational mass?
please, let Gleam finish his point.
Ranty, can you go in the general chat and pull up that one
Listen,
where it says
I'm presenting.
You're presenting
right now.
that one.
Space.com, yeah. So.
No, not that one.
How Vera Rubin brought dark matter to life?
No. As I said, it's the big questions, dark matter. But don't play it because you'll probably get a strike for it. I want you to fast forward to a bit and just show
so
the
it's a video.
It's a video.
So what am I looking for?
3 minutes and 25.
Okay, what am I looking for?
It's the big questions, dark matter.
Okay, right. Sorry, my mistake. Sorry. Okay, so.
Yeah, and I'm just going to say at the end of the
what
day.
Minute? What is it? 3 minutes and what?
3:25. Okay. It should show a graph.
Yep. So let me reshare my screen. 1 sec. Here we go.
Okay, now I don't want you to get a strike, obviously, or anything like that.
That's fine.
But if you put closed captions on, so you can at least see the what he's saying, and just kind of click on your keypad, right.
Yeah.
And if you just go through, he explains when you see a discrepancy of this magnitude, something is very, very. Go on to the next bit. No small tweak of your equation will explain the differences between calculation and observation. And since the calculation is so simple, it forces scientists to return to the very basics. So let's take another look at the equation. Force of circular motion equals force of gravity. Carry on. Thus, we are required to conclude that either we don't understand the equations that govern the laws of motion, it basically says there, circular motion, or we don't understand gravity, or these two forces aren't equal. And you're skipping out a little bit here, but
sorry,
it's literally proving the point that Vera Rubin documented these galaxies. She was using Kepler's laws, Newton's laws, and Einstein's relativity. And if you go back to that chart at 3 minutes and 25, I'll explain that. Okay, so instead of the measured orbital velocity of stars is nearly independent of the radius, which means that if you see the predicted, the white line, that is what you would expect. When a galaxy is spinning around, you would expect the matter to gradually get slower as it gets to the edge, because it's breaking away from the gravitational center of the galaxy. But what is observed in green is it's just as fast on the outer edges as it is in the middle, which defies Newton's laws.
No, it doesn't.
Laws.
Right, you've had about 2 or 3 minutes.
Let him finish.
Right,
okay,
now I would like to
I'm
respond.
done. I've just cited Dr.
Right, exactly. Right. So let's see what. So
okay, so what makes so first and foremost, right, Rumpus.
Can I respond?
Yes, you can. But what? Just one question. What makes you more of an authority than what Gleam has just cited?
No, I'm not. Yes, I'll explain what this video is about and how it works, and I'll go through it exactly. This graph we're looking at the moment shows what would happen if the mass in the galaxy is what is observed. So there are two possibilities. There is more mass in there, but it's of the type that we just can't see, say black holes or brown dwarfs or some very dark normal matter. This graph would have the white curve if there was more matter in the galaxy, more mass. So then the question that guy asked the Fermilab guy is that they're saying, so you must have some extra mass in here than we think is in there, because that would give you because we've got the green curve and not the white one. So he's saying, right, there must be more mass or the Newton's laws are wrong. But what's happened is we said, okay, we've established that there can be more mass in there because we've got other evidence for the existence of dark matter as well as this that accounts for the extra mass that's missing. And with the extra mass through dark matter, and as I asked Gleam earlier, he doesn't understand why you can't use normal matter, but I'll move on from that. If you add in the dark matter that's there, then laws of gravitation work perfectly. And this is what this video will say. What this guy at this point of the debate, the point of this video at this particular point, is just highlighting there has to be more mass of a certain type than we can see there. So when he had that force of equation, the force of circular motion versus the force of gravity, that's dependent on the amount of mass in the galaxy that we perceive there to be. But there's more there because of dark matter. And therefore, with the Newton's laws and Einstein's laws all work because there is dark matter in there. And it is indeed the identification of these two things that caused us to discover, as the title of the paper, one of the papers you brought up, that woman finding there was this rotational issue showed the existence of dark matter. But once you put in dark matter in there, all the Newtonian and Einstein equations work. And we've got lots of independent evidence for the existence of dark matter. That is a matter that's not just not visible, but of a different type that doesn't interact strongly. So, for instance, we have things like the Bullet Galaxy, where we've got a collision between, was it the Shotgun Galaxy, where two galaxies come together, and we can see that the mass, most of the mass of the galaxy is dark, and the light, the bit that gives off light, is behaving in a different way.
Shout out to Bill G's Beer 5. I'm on bottle number 2, so happy days for both of us. Smash the super chat whilst you're at it.
And there's a deficit with the actual matter amount of mass we see, and therefore we know there's another sort of matter, a dark matter that's different from a normal matter, which only interacts with us via gravitational forces. And we know from gravitational lensing that there are strange differences. This galaxy will have a sort of halo of dark matter that means that the normal conventional laws of gravity with Einstein and Newton all work, and they give you the green shape that we have there. So yes, this woman.
Honestly,
the one thing that Glean did get right was that this woman found some evidence that led us to discover the discovery of dark matter. Finish.
Okay, Gleam.
you
Gleam,
summed
go
it up
ahead.
a minute ago, Rumpus. Rumpus, when you said one sentence 2 minutes ago, you said, and I'll quote you, why they had to invent dark matter. That sums it up. They invented dark matter.
They discovered
find a lump of it.
They discovered dark matter.
No. You said they had invented dark matter.
Oh, I should have said
Ranting.
Rewind.
If I said that, I was wrong. If I said that, I was wrong. They've discovered it. Apologies for that.
I think you
Okay,
probably were
Ranty, citation 538 on the video, please. Rumpus is saying they've discovered it and we know. Now check what Mr. Dr. Don Lincoln says.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, it hasn't been proved 100%, but so far, mainstream. You see, well, and Gleam, intelligent noises. This is the only argument you've got. All the mainstream cosmological arguments suggest that dark matter. We've got overwhelming evidence for its existence, and so although it's still not. But then again, we haven't proven anything in science. But at the moment, all of the evidence points to there being dark matter. So indeed, this very video does exactly what I said, and then it's saying, right, there you are, dark matter is the answer, we can preserve all our physics, and dark matter is a consequence of that. So we've discovered, like we discovered neutrinos. We found there was a problem with the, we had a missing mass, a missing momentum, and then we discovered neutrinos, similarly with dark matter. We found there was a missing mass, and this led us to the discovery of dark matter. And it's not just this galactic rotation that makes us believe in dark matter. There are many other arguments as well.
Rumpus, you are too overconfident. Seriously, 100%. You're not saying what the mainstream scientists are saying. You're not.
Absolutely.
You're saying, we know this, we know that. We know this through all of this, the bullet cluster. It's all unknown.
Well, I did say that. So far, everything matches this. Well, nothing is proven in science. I mean, nothing. We don't even know we exist in this world. We don't even know we're in what reality is around us.
That is such a weak fallback, Rumpus.
No, it's not. I've got
you
what level
over
of proof do you want? What level of proof would you regard as proof then? Because so far, all the dark matter,
not just inventing
discovery,
shit. This is what you've just literally said. Let me have 5 seconds.
When we talked about atoms, you'd have said, "Oh, look, there's just this BS." We haven't got any evidence for. All the evidence pointed to atoms. And now, in the last 30, 40 years, we found it. And similarly with this, we're at the stage where we haven't got a lump of dark matter I can show you, but all the evidence points to its existence. Go ahead.
Literally, you've just come on here and you've said, no, our theories are not right because we've had to invent dark matter because our theories are wrong.
Our theories are right. Gravitation and Einstein and Newtonian is perfectly okay. We've got lots of evidence for the existence of dark matter. We can see it with the bullet galaxy, whatever it is, the collision there. There are other evidence through the cosmic wave, microwave background radiation. We know there is a mass deficiency, and we know there are other bits of matter like gravitational lensing. We can see there are dark bits of them, bits of the galaxies and other things that don't match what's visible, that cause gravitational lensing. There's lots and lots of different pieces of evidence for dark matter. That's why it is mainstream cosmology.
There is no dark. You just said we invented it. Yes, there's lots of evidence.
No, but you said they had to invent it. You didn't. That's very different to they discovered it. In other words, there's evidence of it.
Okay.
You said they had to invent it, Rumpus.
Okay, I misspoke.
Jeez, that's a big misspeak, brother.
Yeah, that's the whole argument.
How did they discover
That's a huge misspeak.
Well,
okay, so how did they discover it? Well, listen. No. Let's hold him to task here.
It's like saying,
hold on, guys.
You have no evidence,
Hold
then
on.
you say,
You're all
okay,
muted. Nobody can hear you. Nobody can hear you. Nobody can hear you. Nobody can hear you right now. So I'd like to get some order. So, Rumpus, how did you claim, you've claimed that they discovered dark matter, so can you provide a citation that shows where they discovered it?
Well, this the rotation of galactic the galactic profile there is showing us, because we can
No,
identify the
I'm
mass.
looking for a citation where they discovered
Well, this
it.
video is effectively a citation, but
The
there are many
video
other...
isn't a citation.
Okay, I don't happen to have one off the top of my head. I mean, I don't have a dark matter citation library, but I could go and get one next time, perhaps. Oh, I could.
Well,
Right,
seeing as that
let me
dark matter
say-
is such a big issue, I would have thought that the most eminent globe Earth defender and vocal mouthpiece would have this evidence to hand.
Well, I mean, except for Gleam and other idiots, no one disputes this. It's a well-established fact there is a mass deficiency, and we have lots of evidence for the existence
Where is it
of
then?
dark matter.
Can you provide it? There's lots of evidence for it.
Can you look at my citations? It apart, and he even puts on there, this is a toy paper, and you're like,
toy paper,
not peer reviewed, it's not this and that.
It's not in a published journal. It's a toy paper.
You think I was citing it for that, and it is not my favourite paper.
Anybody who has read any papers and looks at that thing that you presented as evidence would laugh at it. It's not.
Well, anyway,
doesn't have any proper formatting.
I'm going to present more evidence here now.
We try presenting any. We'd be try presenting a single bit of evidence.
I've just presented Dr. Don Lincoln saying that you were wrong on many aspects there. You said two options as well, and there are multiple options.
No, there are not. Well, he was the one who said there were only two options.
Have you not seen the tree? Have you not seen the tree? The actual tree of options that there are
for dark matter alternatives.
Dr. Don Lincoln has just recently brought out. He's doing a series, Subatomic Stories.
Series on what? YouTube?
Yes, on Fermilab's YouTube. Yeah, and he's doing a series, and he's just literally covered dark matter and dark energy again, and it's the follow-up from these videos. Yeah, and what he says in those videos is someone's even brought out more branches to the tree now. Dark matter tree, I think.
Right, but so far, I mean, we have speculation about things, but at the moment, all the evidence is currently supporting dark matter. That's the
number one.
Position.
You said there was only two options.
No, I didn't. I never said that.
Hold on.
I never said. He said that, not me.
Hold on. 1 second. Hold on. Right. So, so hold on, Gleam. So you asked me to present this.
Yes.
Dark energy might not exist after all. Do you have a timestamp for that?
No, just that is Sabine Hossenfelder. She's a theoretical physicist. Totally wiped the floor with Mr. Rumpus here. Yeah, but
she's a bright girl. She's a very bright girl.
She's very hot as well. She's quite tasty.
Either way,
she is. she's very stern German.
Well, either way, she is talking about a paper who has resolved dark energy by using some quantization, whatever. But now go on to the next video.
I think I've seen it.
Hang on. Next citation. So Sabine's a good citation.
No, she doesn't say dark matter doesn't exist in this.
No, wait there. That was just dark energy. The first two that I cited.
At no stage does she say it doesn't exist, which is what you're claiming.
Please shush. Please shush.
It does not say that, Glenn.
Shush.
Okay.
Don't make the claim that this supports your position, because it doesn't.
He picked the last citation. The first two say dark matter. Okay, calm down.
Okay, 1 second. Yep. 1 second.
So there's two. There's a TED Talk that says how quantized inertia gets rid of dark matter.
So let me screen share. There we go.
It's a TED Talk, TED Plymouth University.
You do realise, Gleam, that when that title of that Sabine video says dark matter might not exist at all, we could also say reality might not exist at all. It's one of the things. It's a piece of speculation.
Wait there. There's a TED Talk here.
Works.
There's a TED Talk here by Mike McCulloch, who's an astrophysicist in Plymouth University, and he's talking about a new theory, which is how quantized inertia gets rid of dark matter. And you're saying, we know about it, we know it exists. So
well, I
that's one
said, I know, if
citation
you remember what
against
I said the consensus wasn't all the evidence so far does point to existence. But that doesn't stop. Scientists are all about... Hold on, let me get a bloody sentence out, Glenn. You've been having quite a long bit here. There's lots of... Science encourages people to come out with novel ideas. So just because someone said this might not exist, this might not be true, that doesn't make it mainstream. There's just people putting forward ideas about the possibility of a thing, and that's encouraged. That doesn't make it true. Go ahead.
You are aware that Sabine has done many talks with Eric Verlind and actually supports Eric Verlind. Are you understanding?
I haven't. I wasn't aware of that. No.
Oh my God. Well, put it this way: go and search up any dark energy. I'll even cite that. But either way, can I just cite my third and final citation? So that's TED. That's a TED talk, an astrophysicist from Plymouth University. Yes, I understand what you're saying. People come up with all this, but yes, people are coming up with all this, is my point. And you're saying, no, we've definitely found it. There's no other option.
It's just speculation at the moment. The mainstream position is dark matter exists.
But why people are wasting their time if we've discovered it?
Well,
understand your terminology.
Now, that's what Einstein did when he decided. He just said, I think time might change or lengths might change." People do these things. The holographic principle, presumably, which you've cited. That sort of
Eric
idea.
Verlind's principle. Which is Eric Verlind's? Which is
Leonard
Leonard
Susskind. Yes, Leonard Susskind. It's not Verlind's principle. Susskind developed it from work by the Dutch guy De Hooft.
Yes,
you don't know where the holographic principle came from.
Listen, mate. The holographic principle is embedded in entropic gravity theory.
I know it is. So he's used it. He didn't invent it.
You're switching. No, you're switching.
No, I'm not at all. He uses holographic principle in his entropic gravity, but he didn't invent it.
Second citation.
My God!
This guy
doesn't know the basic chronology of this.
This guy, Anton Petrov, he's not a flat earther. He's
universe without dark matter simulated for the first time.
And if you scroll down, he normally puts the paper in the description, and it's always a university. He's a very, very big sort of like astronomer.
There we go, there's the paper.
Yeah. So.
Bring that up. Oh, Rumpus is typing. He's getting very hot under the collar. He's coming for an SOS. Help me!
But
no. I'm helping other people.
It's discovered. So why are people wasting their time?
I mean, the fact that you've provided one YouTube video that says that dark matter might not exist, and somehow that's a citation, and that's ridiculous.
University of Bonn, Helmholtz.
Oh God, Mond! Oh bloody hell!
What? Germans are no good now. Now that he's a bloke.
They were all good when it came to NASA.
I said Mond.
They were all good when it came to NASA. Hey.
Yes, modified Newtonian dynamics.
Right. So what's that got to do with Germans?
Oh. He's a German.
Really, Rumpus.
The University of Bonn. The University of Bonn is in Germany.
Yes. Well, I was talking about Mond. I wasn't talking about the university.
Right. I thought I said University of Bonn.
So what?
So is that a good enough citation for you? They've simulated on the 18th of February. Yeah, they've simulated. Yeah, or 7th of February 2020, it was actually...
Yeah, 2020 this year, Rumpus. Up-to-date stuff, not going back to the 1900s, mate. Not going back to the time that they stuck sticks in the sand. 2020.
1 + 1 is still equal to 2.
But
geometry still works, Newtonian stuff still works. It doesn't get worn out by time.
They've simulated the galaxy without dark matter, with maths and modelling, Rumpus. So if people are going and suggesting that dark matter doesn't exist, we haven't discovered it. It's still unknown, isn't it, mate?
But people are suggesting reality doesn't exist. Does that make it not so? You don't seem to understand. You don't seem to be able to get to grips with the idea of consensus, mainstream, verified, validated.
Hold on. Appeal to consensus, did you say?
You seem to think if someone comes up with an idea, particularly one that you support, that makes it right. It's an alternative. This is happening all the time in science. Jesus Christ, I can't get a full sentence out.
1 second, Rumpus, right. So, appeal to consensus. So,
No, it's peer review. It's a bit different from consensus.
So
Ramsey.
one second.
Peer review is a bit different to consensus.
Let me finish my point.
You interrupted mine.
Let's go back 5,000 years, and let's suppose one person suggested that the Earth was a globe, right? And everybody else believed it was flat, right?
Yeah, but
what would the consensus have been then?
The science is not based on gossip and consensus, Ranty. It's peer review, where individual people independently verify and validate previous suggestions. Science chucks out stupid ideas straight away.
What's peer review?
You don't know what peer review is?
I know what peer review is, but is it an appeal to consensus?
No, it's an appeal to people.
Consensus.
No, it's not. It's appeal to people making independent experiments and observations on the same thing, and they try and invalidate the consensus.
Rumpus.
That's how you get a Nobel Prize. You don't get a Nobel Prize by agreeing with the consensus.
Rumpus.
You get Nobel Prizes for invalidating, like Einstein did.
It's an appeal to consensus.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. It's not just because. How do you think Einstein managed to do it then? No one agreed with Einstein, and that broke through because other people tested his theories.
Hold on, Rumpus.
Science is not about just
Rumpus.
It's about verified, validated,
Why do you keep talking over
peer-reviewed
me? Are you
evidence.
desperately trying to get an escape here? Are you desperate? Are you that desperate to be muted so that you can run away? Are you desperately?
I'm not running away at all. You're desperate to prevent me from making my point.
So if you have
don't understand the peer review process.
If you have
it's not just like someone in a group chat saying, "Oh, we agree with him," just because.
Right. Jesus, that was terrible. If you have 300 people that are going to evaluate your work, and all these peer people read your paper and they make a decision, the appeal to consensus is what matters. And it is basically a white ball, black ball situation. It's as simple as that. Rumpus didn't want to admit that. Not one bit. Gleam, are you still there?
I am, but I don't know, God must have drawn me out to the kitchen to get a drink when all that happened. I've come back literally now. Rumpus is gone, and you're telling him.
I couldn't get a word in edgeways. It was like, it was so terrible.
But either way, just so that people out there don't get the misunderstanding, go look this up. Don't believe me, go look this up. Dark matter is not resolved yet. It is not discovered yet. There is a new branch of physics, which is, I mean, look at Dr. Don Lincoln's Fermi Lab. Go to Fermi Lab. Yeah, that's a safe site. They're sort of like, I think it's 94 University, and it's a collider there as well. They're building a collider. Yeah, so they're linked to the government. So all you globers, go over there. Watch his latest 2 videos on dark matter and 1 on dark energy, and he blatantly goes, "We still ain't got a Scooby-Doo. There's so many more options now."
Get this, Gleam. So he said that a peer review, which is a review by your peers, is not an appeal to consensus.
It's got to be. But that's how the system's designed.
Yeah, and he was saying that it was not an appeal to consensus. Because what I said to him was, if you went, let's say, back 5,000 years when everybody believed the Earth was flat, and you had one person that spoke up that said it was a globe, and that's as far as I got, basically. And then he just overtalked me the whole time because he knew what was coming. Because the first person to speak up, that one individual that says, "Oh, it's a globe," and now the majority believe it's a globe, but that one person back then would have been in the minority, yeah? That one person would have been in the wrong. That one person would have been ostracized, let's say, from the peer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Well,
but he wouldn't go down that route. He wouldn't have it because he didn't want to go down that route.
Let me give you a story, true story. Einstein was that person. Okay, Einstein's story was when he come over to present relativity, and his fourth dimensional space time. If you imagine, this was back in the days 1911, I think it was, because he didn't actually get it passed through until 1915, and then it was checked and peer reviewed by Arthur Eddington. But rewinding back, at the end of the day, or it wasn't ever peer reviewed, should I say, all that. But anyway, old Einstein, I can't even know where my thread's gone there, but Einstein was literally presenting space-time, that was it, to the Royal Society. And if you can imagine, they've all got them wigs on. Yeah, so it's all old English. Yeah, they've all got them wigs on, and then he's presenting this new dimension, fourth dimension, and he actually got laughed out the first time, and that's why he got pity from Arthur Eddington. Arthur Eddington was like, "No, I'm going to help this guy." And there was a time that they said there was only two people who ever understood relativity, and it was him and Arthur Eddington. Yeah, so either way, the thing is exactly that. Einstein was going against the whole of Newton, and everyone was laughing at him to begin with. Yeah, until he actually fixed the Mercury thing on the eclipse and whatnot, and the actual everything married up, and then they had evidence, and then he brought it back, and they weren't laughing then. They had to take him serious. So then people had to then obviously peer review that. But either way, the moral of the story is Einstein was exactly that. He went against the whole grain of science and said, "Nah, there's this fourth dimensional space-time." Yeah, everyone laughed at him, but now look at us. That's exactly what the model is. So
yeah, exactly. He doesn't want to entertain the idea that somebody or a group of people can have a different idea that actually turns out to be true. He is an absolute appeal to consensus person. You know,
but he's not even appealing to it. I've just shown you. Put it this way, I can't cherry pick actual mainstream science. There's no cherry pick there. If scientists are still working on a solution, then it's not been discovered. Yeah, and they're excluding it from the equation. It's not been discovered.
Well, tell us more about Globebusters on Sunday. I want to kind of promote this and big it up because you've been one of the biggest influences on this channel, at least. You know, at least you come in and you make some sound arguments. So do you want to big up what's happening this Sunday?
Yeah, well, hopefully it's just going to be a natter about literally ether, the history of ether, where, from my point of view, there's two different concepts, same thing really, but two different concepts. One, where it involves mass, it would be Neo-Lorentzian ether theory or relativity, which is identical to space-time. They're mathematically the same, just conceptually different, where one there is an ether, in the other there isn't. And then for light, for the luminiferous ether, that would be the quantum foam, or the background energy, the minimum energy state of quantum physics. Quantum physics is background dependent because of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, and both of those are used in science completely, 100%. And it's in such denial just because they've changed the names of it, yeah, and updated the concept, sort of like it's there. The whole they've proven that the background has something there, yeah, something additional. If you get a bit of matter and another bit of matter, there's something else there that happens in a vacuum, basically.
How does that? If you was going to put yourself on a trajectory with anybody, how would it be with Quantum Eraser?
A total opposite point of view. And I will say, with both Nathan and Quantum Eraser, every single discussion I've ever had with them has been cordial, and they've never shouted at me or anything like that. We've had horn locks, yeah, and we've had laughs, yeah. And I seriously, I don't get the same discussion that globers get, and I understand why, because globers just trigger there, and just come up with dumb arguments and dumb statements. And it's I've had good discussions with him, but totally opposite end of the spectrum. I'm a firm believer in what has just been discovered, basically, where matter and ether and everything is just energy, different frequencies of energy. That is my ultimate belief. And
So
the ether is just space. So you think of it like a yin yang, where there's matter, half of it is matter, half of it is the space in order for the matter to exist in, and the space around it. Yeah, so kind of like that. It's equal amounts, but it's all the same thing.
do you kind of agree that there's this faction between flat Earth with, you know, some that believe the ether and some that believe this quantum mechanics bullshit?
I don't get it. But yeah, no, the quantum mechanics thing, that is what I don't get about quantum eraser, is that quantum physics, quantum mechanics is background dependent, and it requires an above 0 point energy, or a 0 point energy. And the way how it's normally described, and it's put in diagrams by Richard Feynman and whatnot, is virtual things. So you'll have a virtual particle pop in and out of existence all the time in the background medium, and sometimes you'll be able to capture it. Yeah, and sometimes you can fire stuff like electrons through particular materials and create other energies. And then sometimes you get just beta decay, and that shoots off a positron. Yeah, which, when it decays down from whatever to whatever.
Does anybody else have an input in this? Anyone else in the chat right now? Does anybody want to pipe up and give their 2 pennies worth?
Yeah, I'd love to have seriously, I've just had that train ride, and then I've just had Professor Phil, and then Rumpus.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how do you feel it went against Professor Phil? You know, if you was to give your unbiased opinion.
100%. He's always like that. He's always dodging. Put it this way, in the chat, more often than not, when I ask him a difficult question, he replies with a question and keeps repeating that question until I answer that, and then ignores my question originally. And it's I don't know. I think he means well, but I don't think he's read up on any of this. I mean, he's not well versed in it, I'm sure. Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna shout out B-Ball for Life, who says, "Let's allow a few scientists to peer review Ranty's observation of what he calls flat Earth. And at the same token, B-Ball for Life, let's allow a few flat earthers to review your observations of what you call a globe horizon, which is actually just waves." The first glober to actually claim that waves are actually the horizon. Well done. Just retarded. Oh. You've seen his work, Liam. You've seen those Hawaii stuff. He's filming the waves, man. I mean, it's just...
B-Ball,
the
so Cloud Boy.
Bad. It might be the first time he's only been on holiday. I mean, I don't know, but it's likely that it's the first time he's actually been to the seaside. And maybe can't see that. Or maybe he's never been anywhere else. Maybe it's the only place he's ever been, and he's only ever seen the waves there. You know, in the most dynamic place on Earth, with the hugest swells and the hugest waves ever, and he's never actually been anywhere else to actually look at what a calm water looks like. And he actually thinks he's looking at the horizon when he looks at ginormous waves. with surfers on them.
I just love seeing the stickman side drawings. I just love seeing them where it's literally no waves at all.
It's so bad. It's so bad. Right, listen, I'm going to round up tonight because we've been going for 3 hours, so it's been an awesome show. I mean, Gleam, thank you for coming on, and yeah, you debated Professor Phil, you debated the Rumpus there, and I think the audience will make their opinion known in the discussions afterwards. But let's get final thoughts. F Evangelist is on mute, so let's go directly to you, Gleam.
Thank you very much for letting me come on, and just I've had a tough few days, I tell you. So yeah, it just relieved that. Thanks, nice one. I'm on a big fat one now. Thank you very much.
Look forward to seeing you on Sunday.
Have another one.
Oh yeah, I'm getting wasted tonight, so it's all good. Look forward to seeing what happens on Sunday as well at Glowbusters, and I think that's going to be on D Live rather than YouTube. So yeah, pretty cool. Oh, we've got Aaron that's just hopped in right now for final thoughts. Aaron, do you have anything to say?
I was just listening while I was working, and man, what an awesome show. Good job, Gleam, Ranty. You know, just I listened to Jose's today, and this show, I don't even have to say it.
This show rocks. This show is
this
ace.
Show is like 1,000 times better for both sides, right? You know, I get a Professor, I get Rumpus, you know, on this show. Over at Jose's, I'm getting Lael and fucking Terse, and what the hell is going on?
But here we get people to speak. We allow people to speak. We allow to hear both sides equally. You know, there's no interruptions for the most part. You know, I tried to keep a good handle on these things, but people get a good say here.
Yeah, but I'm nearly talking like Lael though.
But like with Gleam and sometimes Professor Phil, sometimes Rumpus, they offer researchable information, citations, new scientists, you know, actual things I can go look at myself and be like, right? Mm-hmm. You don't find that, or I haven't found that anywhere else. So, anyways, Ranty, great show as usual, you know.
Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, well, here as always, you know, I mean, it is an open panel. I'm very cordial to the guests that come on. You know, I mean, if you bring evidence, you know, that's great. I'll show it. I'll literally show it. This is the Flat Earth channel, but I will present it as you provide it. You know, you'll say, play this video. I'll put it on, and we'll have a look. You know, it's very open here. And you know, people will debate these things, we'll argue, we'll come back to things, but you know, at the end of the day, there's no hatred here. You know, we're not hatred to one another. We're all humans at the end of the day. And as Aaron quite rightly said, you know, the people that come on here do provide citations. They do provide information that anybody can look up and research themselves. So onwards and upwards. That's
yeah,
the MO
and one
here.
more thing, I thought I heard Rumpus laugh today when you were going back and forth on, you know, Ranty's always wrong, right? And you making did I hear a little giggle out of Rumpus?
I think you might have broken him. He might have actually smiled. We need evidence, though. We need evidence.
Yeah, we need evidence.
Right, Mobius, are you still there?
Yeah, hey, Randy.
Hey.
Yeah, I wanted to say maybe Rumpus meant to say that they discovered a reason to invent dark matter.
They discovered a reason. That's interesting. Not just they discovered it, but a reason for. What do you say, Glenn?
Perfect. Yeah, to make up, to solve for other problems that conventional physics doesn't solve. And also to point out that they discovered, quote unquote, the atom, you know, the ancient Greeks did. So, I mean, all that means is atomos, indivisible. which they still haven't discovered that yet. So.
Anything to add there, Gleam?
I'm sorry?
No, I was just asking
no,
Gleam if you had anything to add to that.
Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Put it this way. I am quoting Richard Feynman. I like watching his talks, and put it this way, Ken Wheeler and whatnot always takes the mickey out of him, and he's disliked by a lot of other scientists, but loved by a lot of scientists. But he's a good science communicator, definitely, and a good theoretical physicist, definitely a genius for the diagrams. Definitely enhanced QED and made things simpler. He was genius, literally genius. Won in Nobel Prize winner. You know what I mean? So he's proper globe scientist. You know what I mean? They should respect him. And he says that science is king, or experiment is king. It doesn't matter who made the actual theory. It doesn't matter how beautiful it looks. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. That is the essence of science, and I truly believe in that statement. So they've tried our theories and they're wrong, and they don't work. We've got to come up with new theories, and that's what I've just presented. I think I did present a good case for that. Sorry, I'm black.
You're passionate about it, Gleam, which is cool. You know, I mean, this is what we're here for. You know, we're here for the debate, and I'd like to see the best people debate the best people. So I think tonight we had a good show. So can't be bad. Right, listen, let's move on. Rakia, are you still there, mate? I guess not. Right, Brandon.
Hey.
Hey, final thoughts.
Excellent show. Gleam, you just ran the table with them. Anytime they start saying you don't understand every 10 seconds, you know you got them where you want them, because that's their fallback. Yeah, I thought it was really good. And I think the reason, it seems to me that they're struggling to come up with evidence for dark matter, dark energy and stuff. And that's the reason they concocted that picture a couple years back of the black hole. Remember that holy CGI picture? So they're trying to substantiate it, but it's just silly. Their theory can't be wrong. It must be reality that's wrong. But yeah, good show.
Right.
It's almost like.
Go on. Sorry, go on, Aaron.
I was just gonna tell Brandon, or talk with Brandon. They've got the math, right? They have to make up the math first, and then go out and make these observations of black holes, right? So they make up the math and then go create the CGI picture and says, "See, it matches our math," right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all to prop up their mathematical model. They're not interested in reality, I don't think. And Phil will tell you that straight out, that he's not looking for reality. He just wants the models to work.
Exactly.
Okie dokie. Right, listen, thank you everybody that joined the panel this evening. I really appreciate you making the show. The show is only as good as the panelists, and luckily for me, I have the most amazing panelists. So what can I say? Thank you for joining, as you always do. So really, really appreciate your input this evening.
Woo.
Right, I did cut them off for a moment when they were all going to say something, but hey ho, that's the way it goes when you're doing this live show. So listen, everybody that tuned in this evening, I really appreciate it. And we had a professor on, and we had the Rumpus, and we had Gleam, who will be there on Sunday's Globe Busters. We also had a panel full of people that have done this research for the past few years, and I was your host. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed talking to you guys, and yeah, we've had a drink tonight as well, at least I have, and back again tomorrow. I won't be as tipsy though, so maybe we'll be able to get some some more visuals. That's the crux of it. More visuals tomorrow, And yeah, if you do want to support the show, all the links are down below. I'm not going to harp on about it, but the links are there if you want to support the show in any way, shape, or form. It's entirely up to you. If you want to keep the show going, you know where to click. Right. With that, I'm going to leave you tonight, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care, and I will see you all in the next one.